39 points at one time. And at that point, you just kind of empty the bench, let the G Leaguers get in there and get some reps up and down the court. But I guess I was just surprised at the sloppiness, the steals, the turnovers, points in the paint, all the above. I mean, it's just like, guys, anybody?
Anybody?
You know, Bueller? I mean, the lack of adjustments. But hey, this one, not that you're going to win this series, but this one was just, they were not ready to play.
You bring up turnovers, 17, which turned into 34 points for OKC. On the flip side, you guys know the numbers. 2 turnovers for Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix turned OKC's into 2. That was it. All the turnovers they had. That's just unheard of. This wasn't a loss. They got exposed at another level. And I know there were some stories out there trying to compare the last time they played when, they won by a bunch of points, that by it being Phoenix, but no one was playing for Oklahoma City. But, this was game 2. Does this team get one win in the series?
If they do, I hope that's the case. I don't think they get totally whitewashed, but I believe they can probably win one game at home. My guess would be the first game, which is Saturday. I think that would be their best chance to win that game.
I would certainly hope so. I think they just regroup. I mean, Devin Booker said after the game, hey, look, they did a lot of things we haven't seen all year.
Of course.
It's a sign of a good coach. They had, 5 days off to incorporate some things, but they just, to your point, Rock, yes, they exposed them on lack of coverage, like a double teams. You got 2 7-footers down low. There was no help. He's going small ball, and I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. Early in the first quarter, Jordan Knott's going small ball. But what else do you have?
And then for the D-backs, they're rolling 4 series wins in a row, 10 of their last 14. Carroll is waking up. Soroka has been outstanding. Seawald has been money in the closer role. Ryan Nelson, it lasted 1 out Sunday, 8 runs in the first inning.
Ouch.
Is he a rotation guy or not? That is a conversation coming. The NFL draft is Thursday, of course, from Pittsburgh. We're 3 days away. Cardinals hold the 3rd pick, and the Ty Simpson buzz is still out there. And how about the Bengals? They just blew up the entire draft by trading the 10th pick to the Giants for Dexter Lawrence. So the draft week is here, and the Valley has a horse in the race at number 3. And here's what we have today. Rudy Carpenter will join us this hour. He's the former ASU quarterback. He went undrafted, fought his way onto an NFL roster, and now he's an NFL agent preparing his guys for the busiest week of their lives. It's 420, so we're going to have some stats and some best stoner movies of all time. You got to get that in there. Hour number 2, the man who's called just about every second of the Suns, and that is play-by-play voice Kevin Ray. He will join us. We'll also catch up with Fox Sports NFC West beat writer Eric Williams. Will break down the Cards, Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers team by team as they head into the draft. Hour number 3, Tony Mandarich. He's here. He will join us. The overall pick, second overall pick in 1989, and 1 pick of Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, and Deion Sanders, all of them in the hall. So he'll tell us what it really felt like to be in that green room, why he didn't even want to go to the team that drafted him. Then Frank Sanders, he wore the Cardinal red. He knows the organization, and he's going to tell us exactly what Arizona will do at number 3 on Thursday night. So it's a packed Monday here on Roc and Manuch at Jimmy B. But again, the big story, of course, the Suns getting exposed. Green disappeared, 17 points, 6 of 16. Brooks, 6 of 22. The flagrant foul in the first quarter. That triggered a run for OKC, which went on to like a 12-2 run. They dominated, as you mentioned, Manuch in the paint, that is. Outbenched, 40-23. We talked about the turnovers. So the question for this fan base, does this team win a single game in the series? I don't think they do.
I think they get one, and I think it most likely will be that Saturday afternoon game. I feel like that will be their best chance. I will say this about OKC. Look, they're playing against a depleted Suns team with no Mark Williams, no Grayson Allen, and to be honest with you, Mark Williams would have helped because at least he could have battled down low against Hartenstein. I will say this as well. The second best player for OKC is Chet Holmgren. by the end of next season, and I'm going to say this on the show right now, and no matter where I am, if I'm under Daisy someplace or swimming in the ocean, Chet Holmgren by the end of next season will be the best player on OKC.
You know, you think of Williams, Holmgren, Hardstein, you think of SGA number one.
Yes.
13 steals, Jimmy B. Does anybody know how to handle the basketball? You bring up Jalen Green, Rock. I mean, you must have lost it 3 or 4 times. Guys coming behind him. Is anybody not saying, hollering at him like, hey, behind you or whatever? And then Devin Booker, I mean, those two, but I think what you miss, I think what you alluded to there is the ball handling of Grayson Allen.
Yep.
Colin Gillespie, I think, needs to get more involved and handle the ball more so than those two. But the other thing that just stood out was they weren't moving the ball. It was like one-on-one basketball. It's like the big three were trying to get back in the game by themselves, and they were 0 for, I don't know, was it 32, 33% three-point shooting? Guys, 85 three-point shots attempted by both teams yesterday. 85. I thought that was interesting because they both struggled. But, I mean, the steals, Rocky talked about the turnovers, 34 points in the turnovers to 2. It just got to be take care of the ball, and Jordan has said that over and over again. And I think those are some of the – if they take care of the ball, if they can get Grayson Allen, in your point, and Mark Williams in the game, then they got a shot. Otherwise, they're just outmanned, they're outsized, and they're out-talented. And I think that's going to be the keys moving forward if they can win at least one game.
All right, our It's Your Call question of the day, which is brought to you by State 48 Roofing. It's a tough one. How many games will the Suns win versus OKC? 0, 1, 2, or 3. You can vote on any of our social media platforms. Just search Roc and Manuch. All right, coming up, speaking of the Suns, we have some sound. You'll hear from Booker, Jalen Green, as well as then we'll get into some D-backs for Corbin Carroll and the former Phoenix Coyotes, Arizona Coyotes, the Mammoth, made history with their first ever playoff goal.
Yep.
We'll give you some hockey love next as well. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B here on ESPN Radio Phoenix.
Looking for the perfect place to eat, drink, and watch the game this spring? Twin Peaks is serving up bold, scratch-made favorites, handcrafted cocktails, and the coldest Bud Lights and Michelob Ultras in town, poured at 29 degrees. Big screens everywhere, all 5 locations, and an atmosphere like no other. Bring the crew and make it a night. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views. TwinPeaksRestaurant.com.
This week at Vans Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, it's the Cobra Fitting and Bonus Trade-In event. The new Cobra Optum lineup achieves incredible ball speeds, reduced side spin, and exceptional forgiveness. Take advantage of the 50% bonus trade-in towards your new Cobra purchase. Swing into Vans Golf Shops or book your fitting online at worldwidegolf.com. Trusted by golfers since 1963 and home to the legendary 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee. Get there.
Phoenix, if you need a plumber, call the team that does it the right way. Victory Plumbing Arizona. It's particular plumbing for particular people with upfront pricing before the work starts. So there's no surprises when the job's done. And here's a deal just for listeners. Tell them you heard Victory Plumbing on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, and they'll waive the service charge. For leaks, clogs, water heaters, or anything plumbing, book today at victoryplumbingarizona.com. ROC number 268603.
Hey listeners, how do you help first responders and their families when they need help? Well, you can come to a benefit concert party at Kierland Golf Course in the Marshalls Pavilion. Friday night, May 8th, 80s cover band Rock Lobster. They tear it up in the AZ band scene. Food, drinks, and fun for great cause. The 100 Club of Arizona has been assisting public safety members since 1968 with the line of duty death, mental health, safety equipment, and scholarship for family members. Go to 100club.org. That's 100club.org events page.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views.
Screen time's over.
Be home by 11?
Put your phone down while we're eating.
When parents set boundaries, keep track of where their kids go, and talk to them about the dangers of underage drinking and drugs, they keep their kids safe. Visit TalkNowAZ.com. Be the influence. Talk early. Talk often. Talk now.
Thanks. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
This message is sponsored by Substance Awareness Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
Now it's time for our Replay Rewind. The top sounds of the night and whatever Roc decides to add. Let's get to it in Replay Rewind with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620 and on FM at 98.7 HD-2.
All right, let's get to some sound from yesterday's Suns game. We'll start with Devin Booker letting it fly from deep as he tries to spark the Suns in the game. They were chasing all night. We got him at least getting a triple here.
Booker gets it on the logo center court, dribbles to his left, shoots a deep three, and that one's good for Devin Booker from way downtown. He's got 20 on the afternoon to lead all scorers.
Yeah, that's one highlight. All right, that's our Replay Rewind.
We'll take it.
Good night, folks.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tip your waiters and waitresses.
All right, here's Jalen Green from downtown early, but that wasn't good enough. But, it's a highlight.
This is now a 17-2 Thunder run. Green wants a three. Give it to him on the far side. A couple steps deep beyond the line. And boy, did the Suns need that one. They creep back within 9. 26-17 as Jalen Green has his first trifecta.
Seeing this team get within like 9 or 10, you just sat there and went, okay, can they make a run? And then you'd see an offensive rebound by offensive rebound by offensive rebound by the Thunder. And then just all of a sudden get back up to 14, get to 15. Mm-hmm. You're sitting there going, okay, Suns, just whatever you can do to just hang around, maybe, just maybe. This isn't the first half. I'm watching this going, just maybe.
Yeah, I know you.
After that end of the first half, it's like, now this dog's not going to hunt today in OKC.
I was at the refreshment stand at the end of the first quarter. I said, it's over. It's
you could tell.
Yeah.
The energy.
It wasn't there.
Just the rebounding, the shooting, the movement, just the movement by OKC. They looked fresh. They looked motivated.
Yes.
They were consistent. Now, their three-point shooting wasn't exactly very good either.
Right.
But, when you got the big fellas down low, I mean big fellas who got go-go gadget arms to the length of about 25 apiece. But I think sometimes just the ease. And not that they didn't contest SJ a couple times on their shots. Mm-hmm. He's just phenomenal shot maker.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, to go down low, do a 360 pirouette fake, come back the other way, throw it up with his left hand, and knock it down, you just felt that they were just energized to have that time off. And the Suns just looked out of gas. I hate to say it. They just looked out of gas and disjointed, discombobulated.
More than fair.
Disoriented.
All right, let's move on to the D-backs. Of course, they won another series. They didn't look good yesterday, but so we're going to go back to Saturday as Corbin Carroll absolutely blew it open in the 8th with a monster bases-loaded grand slam.
Tied it to the 3-1 pitch. Swung on and hit high and deep. It's out to left center. It's on its way, and it's gone. Worth the price of admission. Corbin Carroll, it's a grand slam. It's his 3rd home run of the season, and the Diamondbacks blow it open in the 8th, 6-2.
Boy, you got to love that. The clutch hitting that the D-backs are having. And you look at, we always talk about runners in scoring position, the RISP you see there. And they're about 40, 45% they have in these last few games. Now, you win 10 out of 14, that helps. But it's the clutch hitting, the one-run ball games, the bullpen, which has really done an outstanding job. I think Sewald got his 7th save on Friday. But they seem to have settled down. But I really look at the clutch hitting that this team is really coming through. And that right there was a 2-2 ball game to hit that bomb in the 8th inning with runners in scoring position, to get runners in scoring position. And then the very often hit home run by the Diamondback has really come to life for this team early on after these ball games.
And here's Torey Lovello shuts down any worry around Corbin Carroll and makes it clear that D-backs are not panicking.
Corbin, I went over to Corbin, and he was fine. He felt like he was in a good spot. I just said, look, I'm going to start to layer in guys to get him off the field. I did it with Arenado. I was trying to do it with Marte. Ended up doing it with Gurriel. So he was just the first in the line of guys. So he's fine.
do want to mention this is actually
he's
yesterday's sound, not from after the Grand Slam.
I told you guys that there were some things that were happening around his body, but he's just tightly wound. I just think it's a day-to-day thing that he's going to continue to monitor.
Well, he grabbed his back in the outfield. So,
He did.
So he probably had a little spasm back there. I can identify with that. I know what that feels like. Look,
You're not athletic enough to have a back spasm.
Please,
Jimmy B.
Manuch, just bite me. So here's the thing, is that he gets a tweak out there, and then everybody freaks out. And Torrey is pretty much saying, hey, he's going to be okay.
Well, and he mentioned Gurriel's back.
Yeah.
So he played Saturday, Sunday, so he's back, which is if they've got to rest him
Right.
for a couple of days, so be it. You got the day off today, which is good. And you got a White Sox team coming in for a 3-game set. So he's got some leeway
Sure.
with him if he's tweaked.
Yeah.
He's having a hell of a year. There's no need to rush any of these guys back the way some of these backups are playing.
All right, even after yesterday's loss, Skipper says there's still plenty to like about taking the series.
All right. There's not much that we can go into other than I'm proud of these guys. We won a series. A team like the Blue Jays, defending American League champions. I don't care what kind of baseball they're playing. I don't care who's injured. They're always a threat. And we took 2 out of 3 games. I'm going to focus on that. It was a good day. It was a good day all the way around in areas other than the score and what happened in the first inning. And that's what I'm going to focus on for me to go home and say we won a series outside of the 3 outs in the first inning. I can live with that. We'll be fine.
I'm glad he's a little, perturbed about that first inning.
Yeah.
Don't rest on your laurels, guys. You win 2 out, you win the first 2. And, Brandon fought the new Josh Coleman to come up, and after Hoffman comes in, gets him out of the inning, that being Ryan Nelson. What do you get? 1 out?
1 out. That
Replaced
was
him?
it. Yeah.
But I mean, you know what? We talk about is Ryan Nelson, is he starting to falter? We look at the rotation. And did Brandon Fott do himself a good service?
Yeah.
By going 6 1/3 and only giving up 2 hits?
Hey, we talked about that when they said, okay, we're going to send him to the pen. He's going to be a long relief guy. You saw that yesterday.
And I think he did a good job of being ready
Yeah.
for that.
Yes.
Because it's not rare you're going to have a guy come in like in the 3rd inning and last for 6 innings or so to get his work in. So again, he did a good job at least of holding him at bay.
All right, get some hockey here. The Utah Mammoth history making their first playoff goal in franchise history, and we got the call on a milestone moment.
Protects the puck and finds Krause. Room for Schmidt to Cooley. Score! What a tic-tac-toe passing play by the Mammoth. Logan Cooley makes it 1-0.
What do you think about that, Jimmy? That's all you.
I know. I loved every minute of it. I just happened to flip it on just before that goal took place. Look, all 3 of us, we love hockey. We miss the Coyotes, particularly at this time of the year when it's NHL playoff time. And to see that happen, first, to see the Mammoth get in with all of those players who started here in the Valley of the Sun, and then to have Cooley score the first goal ever in the playoffs for the Mammoth, and that gave them the lead at that time. They ended up losing that game, by the way.
What I say is I think good for them.
Yeah.
They didn't want to move. They make the move.
Yes.
These guys have toiled.
Yeah.
They have really persevered and endured. And
They
for
have.
them to get to the playoffs in their second year, they're in Salt Lake, and to be in the playoff, get a goal. Hey, good for them that they got an owner that cares about it.
And what a story, the Buffalo Sabres. They ended a 15-year playoff drought. They stormed back in the 3rd period with 4 straight goals to beat the Boston Bruins 4-3 in Game 1. They become the first team in NHL history, postseason history, to win in regulation after trailing by 2 or more goals with 8 minutes or less.
That's an incredible stat. It really is.
Freaking amazing stat.
Talk about a shot in the arm for the city of Buffalo.
Oh,
for the Sabres.
and they need it for the Sabres.
Yes, and you were there longer than I was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Bills, the Sabres, and everybody else.
That's it. Yeah, there's nothing
It
else.
really
for
is. The old odd that was there for many years. But this is you talk about Arizona, Phoenix being down for so long, Sabres being down for so long. For them to have a team that's in the playoffs now after so many years. How many owners have they had the last 4 or 5 years?
The Buffalo Sabres, when Terry Pagula came in and bought it, they had 2 owners prior to that. So Pagula bought it, and he bought the Buffalo Bills as well. So he owns both.
Does he still own the Sabres?
Yes,
Gotcha.
he does.
Good for them.
Yep.
Because that city, they need somebody at some point to win a title in something. And we forget about the Buffalo Braves. They were there for a short spell, too.
Right.
Well, it's the Buffalo Bison.
Bison, the Minor League Baseball
That's
team.
the AAA team.
Yeah. All right. Today's Replay Rewind is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe. In Iraq, you need a check. Make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900. We'll be broadcasting this Friday from McCormick Ranch for the 13th annual Lerner and Rowe Gives Back Golf Tournament, as they have already raised $1 million even before the tournament.
That's incredible.
Man.
Isn't that amazing?
Incredible.
Amazing.
It really is. You put that in perspective. And all that money, every single dime of that goes back into the community.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So when you see those commercials and you know that jingle, you know he's using that money in the right way. So, all right, he went through the NFL draft himself, went undrafted out of Arizona State, fought his way onto an NFL roster, and lived every emotion the week that it brought. But now he's on the other side. He's an NFL agent. He's preparing his guys for the draft. So Rudy Carpenter, we'll catch up with him next, see what he's thinking about the Cards at number 3. But he will join us right after this ESPN 620 Sports Center update.
It's now time for your Roc Manuch with Jimmy D's ESPN 620 Sports Center update. I'm Matt Lazarus. Phoenix Suns were blown out by the defending champs Oklahoma City Thunder 119-84 in Game 1 of the NBA playoffs. And in baseball, the Arizona Diamondbacks started the Toronto Blue Jays 10-4 Sunday afternoon. Despite the loss, the D-backs still took 2 out of 3 in the series. They're now off today before opening a 3-game set against the Chicago White Sox tomorrow at Chase Field. This ESPN 620 Sports Center update is sponsored by Biggs in Peoria. When it's game time, it's Biggs time. Biggs American Bar and Grill at Peoria is one of the best spots in the valley for great food, cold drinks, and wall-to-wall sports. Check them out all weekend long. Biggs in Peoria at the P83. That is Biggs in Peoria at the P83.
Game on Peoria. When it's time to eat big, drink cold, and watch every play, make it Biggs American Bar and Grill in the P83 district. Biggs is serving up huge portions of your favorites. Burgers, wings, nachos, plus a full bar and TVs everywhere you look. And don't miss happy hour Monday through Thursday, 3 to 6:30 p.m. with $2 off well drinks and $2 off domestic drafts, plus daily specials all week long. Bring your friends, grab a seat on the patio, and settle in for the game. Biggs American Bar and Grill, where Peoria comes to play, eat, and watch.
When hot is not an option, Stay Cool delivers. From patios to warehouses, shops to summer events, Stay Cool's Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube mobile air coolers deliver more air for less money. They're rust-free and backed by more than 40 years of experience keeping you cool. Available now online at Home Depot, Lowe's, and Tractor Supply. Shipped to the store or right to your door. Visit staycool-products.com. Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube. Get yours today with free shipping and beat the heat.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Kevin Rowe from Lure and Rowe, and we've been serving Arizonans for 20 years. Make the best choice after an accident. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Lure and Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most, after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you? We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
At the Y, strength means something different. It means people of all ages being together. It means you can be swishing the game-winning shot, learning to plie in first position, jabbing, crossing, and hooking a punching bag, canoeing in the lake, summer camp, donating food for your neighbors, watching your son learn about water safety in the pool. 175 years later, there's still no place like this place. Get involved at your Y. Learn more at ymca.org.
Here to talk football is former Sun Devil and NFL quarterback Rudy Carpenter, who went 3-0 against that team in Tucson.
Deep ball again by Rudy Carpenter. He reads it, it's zone coverage, gets behind the safety.
Rudy Carpenter now on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
All right, NFL agent, former Sun Devil quarterback, a guy who knows exactly what these players are going through this week because he lived it himself. Rudy, appreciate you, as always, joining us, especially on draft week. And I know you've had –
He's dialing in right now. He's a little –
Why play the open?
I just like the open. It's the U of A slamming, Yeshu slamming U
so
of A.
Green.
Yeah.
Not me.
I told him. I gave him the green light. Rudy told me about 3 minutes ago he's calling in. So I just figured we call it, set it all up. Here he comes right now, Roc, as a matter of fact, as he gets him on the line. Be patient over there. Be patient over there. Get him all set up over there. All right. Anytime you can hear a guy that hammers U of A, 3 times, you got to give him the intro.
All right. Rudy Carpenter joins us now on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. How are we doing today, Rudy? What's going on?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing good, man. Going well. So describe what this week feels for a player. You as a player yourself and players you've represented over the years, how emotional is the temperature today when we are 3 days out?
Yeah, I think for a lot of guys, it's an anxious time, right? There's those guys that are sitting at the top of the draft, probably, look, I think even the guys that aren't, everybody are. They're all anxious, whether you're top of the draft, you're in the middle of the draft, end of the draft, probably not going to get drafted. It's a super long.
We had Rudy.
Just nervous, excited. You still got me?
Yeah, we got you.
Sorry. Everybody is nervous. Everybody's anxious. Everybody's excited. There's a lot of emotions for all of these guys. I imagine the guys that are at the top of the draft, not only are they anxious, excited, nervous, all of those things, but they have a lot of responsibility as far as all of the different media obligations, travel if they're going to the draft, family, who they're bringing, their draft parties, all of those things. So one thing for me, I'm absolutely surprised that there's more players that don't, go to the draft. I'm always surprised about the number of players that are drafted in the first round who actually go. Maybe I'm just a homebody, but to me, it just seems so much easier and so much more fun just to enjoy it from your house with all your family and friends there, and then be able to do whatever you want to do immediately after. But I imagine for a lot of these guys, it's a dream come true to hear their name called and walk across the stage and do that very weird, awkward hug with, whatever his name is.
Rudy, is there any, for a lot of your guys per se, is there any last second vetting or them calling you or you calling any the teams that are out there that may have needs for the particular guys that you're representing?
Not necessarily for guys that I'm, representing, but, of course there's, phone calls going on all the way up until the first pick is in. GMs wanting to know who you guys talking to, who's calling you, what's the expectation. They all want to try to get as much info as they can so they can, incorporate that into some of their decision making, especially if it's about trading spots or trading back or trading up or whatever it may be. A lot of jockeying for position, a lot of I promise I won't tell anybody type stuff.
Rudy Carpenter is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line.
The smoke screens.
That's
right?
it, yeah. So my question is, being the agent that you are, if a deal is going down on draft day, on Thursday, do they get you guys in on the call, or do they just do their deal and then you find out about it after the deal is done?
Well, it depends, right? If it's a deal that is really just about picks, so, let's say the Cardinals are at 3, they're trying to move down to 8, 9, 10, and the other team's trying to move up to 3. I mean, no, there's no real agents involved, right? But if there's a player involved where they're going to trade a player, along with some picks, or there's a player involved in just whatever. I mean, yeah, a lot of times the agent will be involved, especially if there's an expectation for an extension to get done along with the trade, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different variables. It just depends.
Rudy, what will your Thursday night, what will your house or your war room or your office or wherever look like with this draft going on? Kind of explain that, where you're at, what you're looking at, how many phone lines you've got open. Just kind of talk about your day as a representative there on Thursday, Friday, and this weekend.
I mean, it always depends on where our guys are positioned and where we think our guys, are going to get drafted. We don't believe that we have any first-round picks this year. And so because of that, Thursday will be a normal day for me, taking my kids to school, picking them up from school, making dinner, doing homework, bath time, and trying to just listen in the background on who's drafted and basically catching up on who went where once these crazies are in bed, especially because, my wife is the vice president for legal with the Arizona Cardinals. And so, even though she's not really on the football side of things, she's drafting a ton of contracts for coaches and assistant coaches and personnel people and whoever. And so I imagine that, she'll be on standby. And so, it's, now once you get into, Friday and Saturday, it's a little bit different for me as I'm talking to players, talking to personnel people, talking to GMs, trying to get a good feel for, where we think our guys may end up.
So, Rudy, at number 3 for the Arizona Cardinals, where do you feel they're going to go, or do you think maybe they could possibly make a trade?
Yeah, I mean, if it was up to me, I think they would make a trade. I just think number 3 is a little too rich for Jeremiah Love, but I know from whatever I hear, whatever that means, whether it's smoke screen or whether it's real, I don't know, but I think there's, maybe growing sentiment around that the Cardinals feel good enough about Jeremiah Love to pick him at 3. Again, for me, it's too rich for a running back. And based on the Arizona Cardinals and based on all of their needs and just where they're at, if I'm them, I'm just trying to stockpile picks.
And with that, too, with the Lawrence trade this weekend, the Giants have number 5 and number 10, Rudy. Will that affect that top 10 much with that trade going down this weekend?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to tell. This is kind of what I go back to. I know this isn't good for radio, and I know it's annoying, but it's like, man, these guys spend millions of dollars a year in scouting. They spend millions of dollars a year in evaluating their personnel, their GMs, their director of college scouting, director of pro. All their different people are making millions to hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's just like, these guys aren't just going to go out there and just give this information. Hey, guys, I just want to let everybody know, here's what we're planning on doing on draft night. So to me, I just think that to a certain – look, I know I used to be on the radio a lot too, and we have to kind of sit here and opine and talk about it. Otherwise, you know, there's no point of having the radio show, right? But, like, at the end of the day, it's just like, man, nobody really knows. We're all speculating. I just don't believe anybody, and I don't believe any of these people. What I believe is that all of these teams, they all have their eyes set on a certain player based on a lot of these teams. Their draft boards are similar in the first round. They all have these guys mocked out. This guy's going here. This guy's going there. This guy's going here. This guy's going there. And based on where we are at pick 18, 19, 20, 25, 3, we have our eye on a specific player. And then if that happens, it does. And if it doesn't happen, you know, then anything can happen. Really, I think all of these guys are smart, sharp. Use Darren Nucci as an example, Manuch. I mean, that guy's one of my better friends. I've known him for a long time. That guy has a plan for a plan for a plan. So, I mean, he's got it worked out to exactly what he wants to do, and they've gone over it 100 times with the owner, with the coaches, with everybody, and they know exactly, you know, what they're going to do.
Rudy, being a former QB, knowing what it's all about, my question is Ty Simpson. So there's awful lot of talk that the Cardinals will look to trade late into the first round to select him. My question to you as a former QB, A, have you seen enough of him to make a judgment on him? And B, do you think that the Cardinals have interest in him?
Well, I'll answer the B part of your question first. I think at this point, the Cardinals have to have interest in any quarterback. I mean, they have not, Rudy. they have not been able to figure that position out, I think, really since Carson Palmer, right? And I think ultimately it's the most important position in all of professional sports. It's the most important position in the NFL, and they have not been able to figure it out. And so I think if you're the Arizona Cardinals, you literally have to kick the tires on every single player at that position. You don't have a choice. I think you got to look at every single option. One thing for me is I am always very scared, very nervous about drafting a quarterback who only has 1 year of playing experience.
Yep.
I always thought it was very important on multiple years because a lot of guys can be a flash in the pan. A lot of guys can be good for a year. And then once they put that year on tape and once they give those defensive coordinators and all of the analysts and all of the, you know, the PFF dorks and all these guys enough information to really, really study them and really put a plan together for them and really find their weaknesses and understand their strengths and put, you know, a plan together to really exploit their weaknesses. That's when, as a quarterback, you got to be ahead of the curve. You're always one step ahead. You're always getting a little bit better. You're always one step ahead. You're always doing self-scouting, so that way you are able to stay ahead. And that's where the great ones are great, is they're always just to be able to be a little bit ahead of everybody else. And it's really hard to know if that's Ty Simpson because we've only seen it for 1 year, so that worries me. The other thing is I'm a broken record on this. I do not care where you draft a quarterback, how you draft him, what round you draft him, if he's first, second, 25, your first choice, your 100th choice, whatever. It does not matter. If the organization is not prepared to nurture a quarterback, it does not matter. That comes from the ownership group to the management to the coaching staff. You have got to have a plan in place for every step of the way and every single scenario for the quarterback. And if you don't, it's like you literally are not going to have a chance. I was just listening because somebody on a podcast the other day talked about Kyler Murray being a toxic player in their locker room when he was a rookie. This is a veteran player who was talking about this. So, like, I mean, look, if you don't have a plan for the quarterback you have and a very strong organization, you don't have a chance.
Rudy, great stuff. Good luck this week with your guys, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next week to hear all about it. So thanks for your time today.
Take care.
That's Rudy Carpenter joining us. Coming up, first of all, he is brought to you by Twin Peaks, 5 Valley locations. We will be there this Wednesday for another broadcast at the Tempe location, thanks to Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. It's happy hours every day from 3 to 6, and don't miss the Michelob Ultra specials. Each Thursday, Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, and scenic views. All right, it's 4:20, and we've got the stats, the best stoner movies of all time, and a question for the audience. Should it be fully legal everywhere? All right. We also got Kevin Ray, Tony Mandarich, Frank Sanders, Eric Williams still to come as well. It's a packed Monday here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
We get it. A meal shouldn't cost you nearly $20. And we agree. At Venezia's Pizzeria, lunch or dinner for under $10 is still a thing. And for an even sweeter deal, stop in and grab a Slice Rewards card. Get a stamp for every qualifying Slice special. 10 visits, 1 free qualifying special. Simple. And every Tuesday, we double your stamps. That's your free pizza twice as fast. Venezia's Pizzeria, a family tradition with great rewards.
You push hard. You train hard. Shouldn't your soda work just as hard? Meet Who Knew, the superfood nutrition soda packed with whole vitamins, electrolytes, and antioxidants. Only 5 grams of natural sugar. Over 2,000 5-star reviews. Voted the #1 soda for athletes. Whole food nutrition. Great taste. That's Who Knew. Go to HUNUsoda.com and use code ESPN for 10% off your first order. Who Knew Soda. Soda that's actually good for you. HUNUsoda.com. Code ESPN.
When it's game time in the Valley, you know what time it is. It's Twin Peaks time. Head to Twin Peaks with 5 Valley locations and massive screens everywhere you look. From basketball, baseball, to hockey, fights, and more, there's no better place to catch every play and all the action. Bud Light is a proud partner of sports fans everywhere. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
Arizona's headquarters for Toyotas is Wright Toyota. Hey, Rock, for my friends at Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. You will always find the right deal at Wright Toyota. Wright Toyota has been driving Arizona's home for years with their amazing service, pricing, and great selections. I encourage you to discover the difference at Wright Toyota. Make the right choice, Wright Toyota, just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, and always online at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Check out WrightToyota.com.
Game on Peoria. When it's time to eat big, drink cold, and watch every play, make it Big's American Bar and Grill in the P83 district. Big's is serving up huge portions of your favorites. Burgers, wings, nachos, plus a full bar and TVs everywhere you look. And don't miss happy hour Monday through Thursday, 3 to 6:30 p.m. with $2 off well drinks and $2 off domestic drafts, plus daily specials all week long. Bring your friends, grab a seat on the patio, and settle in for the game. Big's American Bar and Grill, where Peoria comes to play, eat, and watch.
Volunteering brings us together, across generations and backgrounds. When you volunteer, something powerful happens. Differences fade away. We come together around one shared purpose, lifting each other up. It starts with seeing a need and choosing to step up. Arizona needs leaders. Arizona needs you. Visit serve.az.gov to explore volunteer opportunities across Arizona. Sponsored by the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family.
TV now on ESPN 620.
I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then we're bark, man. Still messed up. And I know why.
Man, I never had no dope like that before in my life, man. That's a heavy shit for smoke, man. I mean, I smoked a lot of shit before, man. But, man, that's heavy shit.
You okay?
I can't breathe.
What's the matter?
I can't breathe, man.
Well, just right here. Hey, man. Hey, I got something to mellow you out, man. You're just freaking out. Here.
I never smoked no that before.
Take these,
What?
man. Take these. This will
What
mellow
is
you
this?
out, man.
What is that, man?
Let's take them, man. Oh. Hey, don't take those, man.
What?
I almost gave you the wrong, man.
Hey, man, I already took them, man.
Oh,
Hey, what do you mean?
wow, man.
Hey, what was that, man?
You just ate the most acid I've ever seen anybody eat in my life.
Hey, man, I never had no acid before, man.
Just hope you're not busy for about a month.
I'm gonna die, man.
Oh, the best Stoner movies. Yes, here on 420. Up in Smoke, 1978, followed by Pineapple Express, Dazed and Confused, Friday, and then We're the Millers. So it's number 5.
That's
so
classic.
some other ones, Dude, Where's My Car? Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Super Troopers. They're all pretty good.
Just
but,
remember, guys, puff, puff, pass.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So 87% of Americans support legalizing marijuana in some form. 54% says both medical and recreational, and 33% say medical only. Only 12% said keep it illegal. There are 24 states plus DC allow recreational. 16 more only allow medical. There's still 10 states that are illegal. Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa, Kansas, Wyoming, and Idaho.
Wow. All very conservative states.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Strange.
You know, I sit there and go, just legalize it. I mean, look at you can tax it. It's beneficial. It's like alcohol, as long as if you don't abuse it, and you can get a DUI as well with that as well too. But I don't understand why it's illegal in some of those states when you see the benefactors for so many with the THC, the CBD, all the above.
Well, particularly people with PTSD.
Sure.
I mean, it really
so
comes.
many.
I can tell you a quick story. I played with 2 former veterans, played golf with them like about a year ago, and we're on the cart. And they both lit up, and they just said, I need this just so I stay calm. So I stay calm.
The thing is economics, and the amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
That
absolutely.
Especially today, I could go through the list, just pull out the New Times and tell you where all the specials are, where you can save a few bucks. Sure. So here on 420. Anyway, there you have it. Let's get to football at 50. This is pretty high. Maybe it's the Dallas Cowboys. Woo. Brandon Aubrey became the highest paid kicker now in the NFL. He agreed to a 4-year extension that makes him the first kicker to earn $7 million a year, including a $20 million guarantee and a signing bonus of $8.25 million. In the offseasons, the Texans, the Fairbairn, I think it's Fairbairn. Fairbairn. I don't know. He's the high. He was the highest.
Yep.
6.5. Butker from the Kansas City Chiefs. Butker. Is it Butker?
Yep.
His guarantee was the largest at 17.75, all before Aubrey. So, Manuch always make fun of kickers, but man, they're making more than a lot of quarterbacks.
I think one of the things that when you say that is that so many guys it's normal for them to hit anywhere from 55 to 62-yard field goals.
It is now.
So the value's gone up because these guys are kicking 50 to 55-yard field goals like they're 35 to 40-yard field goals.
Mm-hmm.
And if you'd have told me that 5 years ago, I said, did hell freeze over? I didn't get the memo. But I think their value is that they can get within 50 yards. You've got a chance to get 3 points.
Yeah, midfield.
So I think with these guys you just mentioned, Butker, all these guys, they're all strong leg guys. I mean, you look at now, there may be a day we see a 60 to 70-yard field goal if somebody wants to take that chance, because if they miss it, you got the ball on the opposing side of the 50-yard line.
The guy who kicked now the record in Jacksonville is 68 yards, and he did not kick that kick in Denver.
He kicked 70 that in warm-ups?
Yes, in warm-ups.
In that day as well.
Yes, he did.
So they saw him kicking. He made it by like 3 yards.
Yeah.
But so for the 68-yarder, they said, do we take the risk? So I think a lot of these coaches are going, If this young man's got that strong of a leg and it's 50 to 50 yards, it's a good risk. Now, if it gets beyond 60, then they've got to decide, okay, what's the strategy? Where are we at? What are some of the things we can work on? They're going to be able to have their defense be able to hold them if they miss that field goal.
Some other news today, the NFL Network is reporting that Jimmy Garoppolo is considering retirement. He spent the last couple of years as Matthew Stafford's backup in L.A., but we'll see what happens here as he gets closer into the summer, if he will return or not.
That's interesting because Sean McVay had said between Cousins and Jimmy G. So Cousins is gone now with Las Vegas, and Jimmy G hasn't decided whether he wants to play or not. So if he feels I've got enough money, I can get out of the game. He's been banged up a little bit, unscathed.
Yep.
Then he can move off. He's got some other things. He can go do TV, whatever, modeling, all the above.
Yep.
If he's done, if he's satisfied, he'll move on.
He can hang out with porn stars. He did that for a while. The thing I wanted to ask you about that, if he calls it quits and hangs up his cleats, are they grabbing a guy then in draft, the Rams, in like the second round?
They got Stetson Bennett, the fourth.
They have him. Yeah, I know.
Stetson.
Yeah.
Bennett, the fourth.
Manuch isn't sold on
I'm
him.
not sold on him. At this point in time, not sold on him whatsoever. I think Jimmy G, if push come to shove, somewhere down the line, a couple guys go down and they need a quarterback to come in and back up, I think Jimmy G would still be available if he decides to retire.
All right, the man who has the best seat in the house all season long for the Phoenix Suns, the play-by-play voice, Kevin Ray, will join us next. We'll also catch up with Eric Williams. We'll get his thoughts on what the Rams may do in the draft, as well as the other teams in the NFC West. A little bit later, we will catch up with Tony Mandarich, who was the number 2 pick overall in the 1989 NFL draft, and Frank Sanders. So we got a lot to get into today as we wrap up hour number 1. 2 more to go. We're at the studios of ESPN Radio 620.
Megan's grandfather bought his first Ranger here. Her dad bought his first F-150 here. And she just drove off the lot in a new Ford Expedition for her family. 3 generations, all choosing Sanderson Ford. Visit Sanderson during their anniversary sale and see why. Right now, purchase a 25 Ford Bronco Sport starting as low as $27,995. And choose the dealership families have been trusting for over 70 years. Choose Sanderson Ford. Offer on stock number 256803. Demo unit. Excludes tax, title, license, and $599 dog fee. Offers expire April 30th, 2026.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. An elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Hey everybody, Dan Bickley here with my guy Bear, one of the Henley brothers that owns and operates Waltz TV and Appliance. And right now, if you spend $100 or more at Waltz, you'll get a free Gemini boombox.
That's the same one you've got, right, Bick?
Yep, and I love it. It's portable, super loud, great bass, and it even floats. Perfect for the pool or backyard hangouts.
Free, floats, and ready for summer? That's a win.
Everybody wins when shopping at Waltz, which you can find off the I-10 in Warner and online at waltz.com.
Now open in North Scottsdale. It's the Orangedale Lounge. OD's, right off Thompson Peak and Bell, next to Bash's. Your new favorite dive bar has arrived. Cold drafts, chill vibes, always affordable prices, and the OD Mug Club, a one-of-a-kind membership you won't find anywhere else. No frills, just great people, ice-cold drinks, and a bar that feels like it's always been there. Follow at OD Scottsdale and get the scoop at OrangeDaleLounge.com. Orangedale Lounge. Dive in and drink up.
Every person in a crowd deserves to feel safe.
After 10 lives were lost at a concert, Pink Bows Foundation stepped forward, fighting for safer venues and crowd safety training. So when you walk into a concert or cheer on your team at a big game, Pink Bows wants you to feel protected and safe in a crowd. Our focus is to help prevent another tragedy. Visit pinkbowsfoundation.org. Pink Bows Foundation. Safer events save lives.
KTAR AM Phoenix, Arizona's home for the worldwide leader in sports, is ESPN 620. And now, an on-air sports marketing presentation. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD-2, and streaming live at ArizonaSports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Tap back by Oso, and Booker reloads. He'll shoot a three on the left wing, and that's good for Devin Booker. He knocks down his first trifecta of the afternoon, 13 to lead the Suns.
All right, Suns lose game 1 to the Thunder, 119-84, a 35-point playoff beatdown, unfortunately. And the man who has the best seat in house, typically, during the whole season is the Suns play-by-play voice, Kevin Ray, and he joins us now on the Right to the Guest line. K-Ray, what's up, my friend? How are you?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
there's a voice that's magic to my ears.
Whatever.
I
I knew you were going to go there.
Let him know, K-Ray, please. Let him know.
And I'm like...
All I said was that's a voice that's magic to my ears. I mean, it's a compliment.
Whatever. Are you allowed to be on with us? I mean, I know you get paid big bucks next door with Wolf. He just came in the studio and said hello, believe it or not. So... is this like a favor or something from back in the day when you were our morning guy, on another station? You're like, all right, I owe one for the guys. I need help the ratings.
Well, K-Ray knows I've got cousins that know where he lives.
I think that's the thing right there.
What up, boys?
So, K-Ray, I mean, how does it, the playoffs come and then, you're basically, watching games, is that just part of the gig? And is it kind of nice that you get a little bit of break, or would you rather be in OKC right now?
Oh, I mean, look, when you're doing games for a team, and said team makes it to the postseason, I don't care if, Major League Baseball, NHL, you want to be doing the games that mean the most.
Yeah.
And the postseason is, it's no different for broadcasters than it is players. I mean, postseason is what it's all about. And it is something that has not set well with any of the local broadcasters. And I'm referring to the new NBA media deal. It's not like we didn't know this when he saw the terms of the deal come out last year. Nobody was happy. And, that includes, I thought it was interesting, and I'm sure you guys saw this, but it was, a week and a half ago, whatever the last regular season game. And Mike Breen, who, by the way, is the league's network voice, he is hired by the NBA to do the playoffs and the finals. But Mike Breen is also the voice of the Knicks, longtime voice of the Knicks. The guy is a Hall of Fame broadcaster, legend. But even he was irritated by the new deal that takes away first-round playoff coverage from local teams. And way back in the day, we were able to broadcast into the second round. But, every new deal has brought, new levels of money available. And when you have those forces that are willing to write that big check, unfortunately, the NBA sits up on the edge of the seat and says, okay, to the, chagrin of all of us local broadcasters. And more importantly, I think the fans. I think that's where that is who is getting cheated as much as anybody is the fans. And you just look across the league for the fans' bases who have had to watch the first round games. And it's not just Suns fans who are voicing their displeasure. It's league-wide.
Kevin, we have Dave Pasch online. We're just going to talk to Dave. He actually called the game yesterday. So can we call you back? No, I'm just kidding.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll just add that onto the IOU.
Yeah. Kevin Ray joining us, the Suns play-by-play voice here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. All right, Kevin, when you looked at last night, one play, one run, one moment, was there one that you said watching there that this was going to be a long night? Maybe it was the flagrant foul on Holmgren. Was there anything that you kind of looked at and you can say, okay, that's what triggered it?
No. I mean, look, people will point to that, and you and I both know why, because who was involved? Dylan Brooks, right? And
of course,
subsequent run started. Yeah. The subsequent OKC run started. But look, that play had nothing to do with it. The Suns were already kind of playing on a slippery slope, and it started with turnovers. You cannot be loose with the basketball with that team in particular. And you combine that with the inability to box out and get rebounds, and it just, it turns into a tidal wave when you're facing a team like that. And then, thirdly, the Suns they were able to generate some reasonably good looks in terms of shooting, but Dylan was cold early, Jalen was cold early, and, certainly trying to get any kind of interior presence with Oso against Chet Holmgren. That is a really tall task. And those were just three things that created this vicious cycle. And then on the other end of the floor, OKC was getting what they want when they wanted it. And all of a sudden you go from being down 4 to 8 to 12 to 19.
Kevin, a couple things. The small ball situation is just not working when you talk about those two big dudes in the middle. That's been kind of the story for the most part for the Suns here and there in reference to handling the bigs for the opposing team. How is it they can counter that, or how did they counter that during the season with you and Eddie doing a lot of the broadcasts? It might add maybe something similar or comps like that per se to be able to handle those bigs with the small ball lineup.
Well, it starts with having all your bigs available, right? And unfortunately, based on some of the information coming out this morning, it certainly does not appear to be optimistic for Mark Williams. So he's your starting center. So there's one big that even if you wanted to go to him, he's not available. And then, your second big is Oso. Okay, now he's starting. And then your third big on your roster is your rookie. And Jordan threw him out there because you have to see what kind of resistance you can try to create, by that big lineup. And when that's not working, then you try to go over the next best thing, which is to try to play small and fast. And look, OKC can play any type of game that you want. They can go big front line all the way across, or they can play small. And when you've got that kind of depth and the luxury of having that lead, it really puts you in in dire straits, which the Suns found themselves in yesterday. And so there aren't a whole lot of options, Manuch, when you look at okay, let's go big. Well, you can go big, but you're very limited. Your hands are tied to a degree.
Kevin Ray is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. And Kevin, my question is this. It's my contention that by the end of next year, Chet Holmgren will be the top player on that team. I can't wait to watch him and Wemby go at it. So you saw them plenty. In your estimation, can the Suns find a Chet Holmgren someplace out there, either in the draft or in free agency? Is there anybody else similar to him with all of the games that you have seen?
I have not signed up for the trip to Mars yet.
Good call.
There's only one alien, and that dude resides in San Antonio. No, look, to answer your question, there's no quick fix. And look, Chet is ridiculously talented. Mm-hmm. And here's the other thing that and this is me kind of forecasting into the off season. Suns team that we knew even before the playoffs started, guys. We knew the Suns were they weren't one of the smallest teams, but they were among the smallest, right? And beyond just dealing with the Wembys and the Chet Holmgrens, I'm going to tell you two teams that are going to be in the mix. One is already in the playoffs because they punched their ticket to the 7th seed. They're taking on San Antonio. You look at the length and size that Portland has, right?
Yes.
Well, there's another team next year that could be even bigger. They're going to be in the draft lottery. They might even add more size when I'm talking about the Utah Jazz. Go check out the potential Jazz front line next year. It's ridiculous. You could potentially have 3 7-footers on that line. So beyond Chet and Wemby, the Suns are going to have to find a way, somehow, some way. I don't know exactly how, but they have got to get bigger. That doesn't help them, for game 2 on Wednesday. But I'm just kind of throwing that out there, and I'm not really saying, anything earth-shattering. I think we all have seen that. But no, there is nobody that is going to be able to make an immediate impact other than the guy you've got on your current roster. I mean, look at the growth of Man from the time he stepped on the floor, way back at that last preseason game against the Lakers. So Man is your best option, and then you try to add height beyond that.
And Kevin, doesn't OKC have a lottery pick as well too? Did I read that wrong? And they've got a top pick as well, don't they? Coming their way.
I'm pretty sure, Manuch, the Thunder have lottery picks over the next 9 years.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I thought. Okay,
that's a good call.
I think they've got 14. I think they've got 14 first-round picks and 22 second-round. It's absurd. It is absolutely absurd. And you just tip your cap to Sam Presti, who has just been an absolute wizard when it comes to constructing the team. And then, it's you can have all those picks, guys, but if you get the picks wrong, and trust me, Suns fans should know about that. There was a time and a place when we had 2 top 10 picks, and we whiffed on both of them. I won't mention the general manager's name, but he's not in the league any longer, which is probably a big reason why. You still have to make the right picks, and it speaks to their player development. It speaks to their organizational structure, what Sam Presti has done. I'm confident in this group that we have leading the Suns now, for sure. But it's it is an embarrassment of riches, to say the least, for OKC. Not just this year, but the next several years.
Grayson Allen means a lot to the Phoenix Suns. Unfortunately, he's still hanging out with that bad knee
and hamstring.
Could we see him on Wednesday, or do you have any updates on that or not?
Yeah, I wish I did, Jimmy, and I'm glad you mentioned him. We've talked about Grayson's impact all season long, and you look at the games that he didn't play, and he just impacts both ends of the floor. And missing him yesterday, and then Goody not being able to come back too. Let's not forget about the impact that guy has made this season. So you lose 2 of your really good physical on-ball defenders, starting with Goody and Grayson. I am hopeful that Grayson will play in this series, but I will tell you, with a hamstring issue, guys, look, their starting point guard, Jalen Green, how many games did he miss this year?
Right, yeah.
It's such a delicate, sensitive injury that you can't really predict. So I would love to see him on the floor, other than sitting there in warm-ups. I know they've said he's available, but I think it's pretty clear that it is and I think even Doris Burke mentioned this yesterday, a break glass in case of emergency. So that kind of gives you a level of just how ready he is.
He's Phoenix Suns TV play-by-play voice, Kevin Ray. You can follow him on his X at KRay1Voice. K-Ray, thank you, buddy. I know, we don't have the big funds like the guys next door, but we appreciate you helping us little guys out once in a while.
And I'm glad you could come on when Roc was actually here.
I will take a cold frosty beverage. At one of the many establishments that you're part owner of. Tell me the time and the place, and I will tip a glass with you, and we'll consider that paid. Well, maybe not paid in full. I'll hold on to a couple of IOUs.
Yeah. I'll let you have one of our mugs. We got a mug club. I'll give you. That's what I need to do. I need to give you a Kevin Ray mug. 'Cause I know TC wants one, so I can give him one. So. But you do know that TC's mug is going to be much larger than that. It's only Coors Light. Yeah, we know. Kevin, we love you, man. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Right back at you, boys.
That's Kevin Ray. Again, that's K-Ray One Voice. Appreciate him jumping on with us. It does, man. If you figure you work all those games and you get to the playoffs and then you got to sit back.
When he said you used to be able, as soon as he said that, I'm flashing back to when I was calling first-round games.
Yeah.
And now it's a thing of the past. It really is.
And you can't find half the games on their own prime.
You have to go to
the
prime.
Situation right there.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's trying to find them. It's a disservice. And all these games were blowouts, except for one game was like 9, right? I mean, they're all blowouts. The first game anyway. All right. D-backs, they take 2 or 3 from Toronto. We are going to dive into some of that, what we saw, what we're about to see as they got the White Sox tomorrow. They won 4 series in a row, and they've won 10 of their out of 14. How about that? And we got a closer, man. We should give an extension now. All right, we'll get into that and much, much more as we continue on. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B here on ESPN Radio Phoenix. We're on FM at 98.7 HD-2 and always on the Arizona Sports app.
Need to feed a crowd? Let Venencia's bring the flavor to your next event. We know you have a lot of options when feeding a large group. Ordering directly from Venencia's means you get the best service and the absolute best pricing. There's no per-person fee. Just tell us how many people you need to feed, and we'll come up with the perfect plan to ensure everyone's well-fed and happy. Grad party, office celebration, family reunion. Invite Venencia's to the table. Text catering to 411-24/7. That's catering to 411-247 or Venencias.com.
Rock for WhiteToyota.com. At Wright Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all of their innovative web tools on WrightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at WrightToyota.com.
When it comes to your roof, you don't want to mess around. And Arizona homeowners and business owners have known that for over a decade. State 48 Roofing is Arizona's #1 referred roofer. Residential, commercial, they do it all. And they've been doing it right here in the Valley for over 10 years. Protect your home, protect your business. And hey, keep your roof sexy with State 48 Roofing. Visit state48roofing.com or call 480-268-4509. State 48 Roofing, Arizona's most trusted roof.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views.
When tragedy strikes, the impact is immediate and devastating. That's when the 100 Club of Arizona steps in, providing financial assistance, guidance, and emotional support to the families of public safety officers injured or killed in the line of duty. They also invest in mental health resources, injury prevention, and scholarships for the children of first responders. Every day, Arizona's public safety professionals put their lives on the line. The 100 Club of Arizona has their back. Learn more at 100club.org.
Before you fly, take a trip to your local MVD office or authorized third-party provider with your required documents and get the new AZ Travel ID with the Gold Star for your new driver's license or ID. Starting May 2025, this new AZ Travel ID gets you through TSA security checkpoints. It's quick and easy. Think of it as your license to fly. Learn how to get your new ID at aztravelid.com. Sponsored by ADOT in partnership with the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620.
Care of the Blue Jays 6-3. Michael Soroka was the story. 7 strong innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 5 Ks. That was nice. It was nice that Toronto gifted us, us being Arizona, 3 errors. And then Paul Sewald, he closed it out clean, a good win for them. And then on Saturday, Corbin Carroll went off, grand slam in the 8th, blew it open, 4 RBI total with that home run. And that was the 8th inning was the story in there. That was nice to see. And Perdomo had 3 hits. I think I want to mention that. But then on Sunday, it was ugly. Ryan Nelson lasted 1 out, 8 runs in the first inning. It was over before the crowd even settled in. But good news, Brandon Pfaadt came in from the bullpen. He threw 6 1/3 innings, a 1-run ball to eat innings and salvage the rest of the game. But Ryan Nelson is a problem that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I'd say so. The last 2 outings have been rough, at least. And I think one of the things when you see that long relief, sometimes that blessing in disguise is that Brandon Pfaadt got some good work in. Mm-hmm. Now, they didn't want to see a starting pitcher only get 1 out and give up all those runs in that first inning. But at that point in time, when you watch those pitches, it wasn't as if they were bad pitches. Slider. It's like they were sitting on them. It's as if this Blue Jays team they knew what was coming. And, guys, they scored all those runs without a home run. Just think about that. They scored all those at a home run, get a walk, you get a base hit. It kind of what's the term? They just keep passing the baton on to the next guy. But, I mean, just some big hits that they had. But the one thing that I looked at when you watch this Diamondback team winning 10 out of the last 14, and to your point, Rock, they'd won 4 in a row until they lost yesterday and winning the 4 series is a lot of the clutch hitting. You talk about the bullpen, getting some key outs, starting rotation. You look at, aside from, Nelson yesterday, pretty good starting rotation. And even when Erod struggled the other night, they had guys come in and kind of calm the waters. But a lot of clutch hitting. Runners in scoring position has been up. Where last year at this, when you think about it, it was pretty much a debacle. They'd go 1 for 10. They were 3 for 5 the other night in that Saturday night game that they won with the grand slam.
With what we saw from Brandon Pfaadt, could Pfaadt and Nelson be interchangeable in that last spot? I mean, look, we were on Pfaadt and we talked about, well, he needs to go to the pen, be the long reliever. Okay, he does. And then he performed very well. Nelson has got roughed up his last 2 times out. So do you send him to the pen, put Pfaadt back in that starting spot?
I don't think they're ready for that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was a pause for concern. You can kind of hear it in Troy Lavello's voice talking about Ryan Nelson. There's some things they've got to clean up.
Right.
And anytime I hear that when they're talking about a pitcher, they say that about a hitter or a fielder. But if it's a starting pitcher, is it a mechanical thing? What are you talking about, Troy, when you say there's some things we've got to clean up? So is it mechanics? Is it location? Is he losing something off of his curve, his slider, his fastball? Because I swear, guys, watching that first inning, it was as if they knew exactly what was coming. A couple base hits up the middle, a couple hits off into left field. You have to triple down the left field line. There's so many things, but if there's a few things they can clean up, his next 2 or 3 starts, I think, will determine whether that happens. But my whole concern is Brandon Pfaadt getting the work. He got the work yesterday.
He did.
You don't want to see a Brandon Pfaadt
No,
very often.
I get that. No, I understand that.
You want to see a guy come in the first or
first
second
inning
for long relief. But the other blessing in disguise was he saved the bullpen, basically. He ate up a lot of innings,
he did.
6 1/3, and gave those guys a day off out there in that bullpen.
I think the bigger story is Michael Soroka. The fact that they made a move to get him on a 1-year deal for about $7.5 million. He is really playing well. I mean, this guy was a runner-up rookie of the year. He was an all-star back, I think, 2019. I think it's what it was, somewhere around there. A lot of people don't even know that, he had the immaculate inning, which a lot of people don't know what that is. An immaculate inning is when you face 3 batters and 9 pitches. And he did that, in his first start against the Tigers this year. I mean, this is a guy that I don't know if there's such thing as a comeback. I don't know, because he got traded in the middle of the season last year.
Well, but he was hurt all the time.
Yeah.
That was the knock
rub
on
on him,
him.
yeah.
And I remember Troy Lavelle said Soroka is recovering.
Yeah.
Getting back
I remember
into
that,
because he got lit up his first couple, 2 innings or 3 innings in spring training.
Spring training, yeah.
And we went, okay, so what are we seeing that they're not saying? But then again, you're right, Rock. He is really at 4-0, 2.78 ERA, and he's pitching very well.
I think he always had the talent. I don't think that was
Clearly.
ever the question. It was about his physical health. That was the question.
No, I think it's great. I mean, and then Sewald, another one.
Yeah.
I mean,
7 save.
two pickups this year.
Yeah, 7 save. The thing you watch about him, he's keeping the ball down. I mean, he's keeping the ball lower half of the plate. And a couple, like the one base hit was at the first series against the Dodgers. Guy golfed it to right field.
He did.
But he's keeping the ball down. He seems like he's got a little more explosiveness on his fastball as well, too. So, yeah, I think the Diamondbacks only 2.5 back. Hey, and you look at a team that's won 10 out of the last 14 games, and you got the White Sox, coming in town.
Don't sleep on it.
No, I
Don't
know.
sleep on them.
But take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is nice to see Gurriel get back in the lineup. Just when you have Lawler out for maybe another month with a fractured wrist, and if you got Corbin Carroll tweaked, kind of shuffle the lineup around. But how about Alec Thomas mixing in a couple hits the other day? Nice to see him get off the schneid because, and we'll catch up with Nick Pecoro, the beat writer for the Diamondbacks tomorrow. I just wondered how close the Diamondbacks were to send him down just to get some at-bats, some positive at-bats. Because he was like 0 for like March and early April. But his glove is phenomenal, his arm, and his base running. But, you looked at Corbin Carroll, stolen base, grand slam. The kid is just playing balls out right now.
Every time I watch him run the bases, I want him to get in a race with Kyler Murray.
That'd be
see
fun.
those two guys just go at it. You watching some of the Boston Marathon, like seeing those guys compete at the end. You're coming in for the finish line, see them both running as fast as they can. I think I'd take Corbin, though.
Yeah, he's just so quick. I mean, he's out of the box.
They should do it for charity. A race.
That would be great.
See, bet on
the bases.
I mean, we could bet it, right?
When you were a kid, did you ever race other kids? You went one way around the bases, and the other guy went the other way?
Do that all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Baseball practice.
All the time.
Yeah. We had a drill where we had a guy at home plate, in between home and first, in between second and third. So in between. So one of the conditioning drills is you had to catch a guy in front of you.
Yeah.
So if you had one of those fast guys in front of you, you were going to run around the bases a long time. You wore your butt out.
All right, Fox Sports' Eric Williams will break down the NFC West draft picture team by team. Cardinals, of course, at 3. Do they stay? Do they trade back, take a defender, or Ty Simpson? We'll find out what he's hearing on the national level, as well as we'll tap into some of the other teams in the NFC West. We'll get into that next with Eric Williams, but first, here's another ESPN 620 Sports Center update.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's ESPN 620 Sports Center update. I'm Matt Lazarus. The Phoenix Suns were blown out by the defending champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder, 119-84 in Game 1 of the NBA playoffs. It was a rout from start to finish. The Suns will look to bounce back in Game 2 on Wednesday night from the Paycom Center in OKC. And in baseball, the Arizona Diamondbacks fell to the Toronto Blue Jays 10-4 Sunday afternoon. But despite the loss, the D-backs still took 2 out of 3 in the series, and they are now off today before opening a 3-game set against the Chicago White Sox tomorrow at Chase Field. This ESPN 620 Sports Center update is sponsored by Biggs in Peoria. When it's game time, it's Biggs time. Biggs American Bar and Grill in Peoria is one of the best spots in the valley for great food, cold drinks, and wall-to-wall sports. Check them out all weekend long. Biggs in Peoria at P83. That's Biggs in Peoria at the P83.
Celebrate the new season and enjoy springtime features at Rodizio Grill. Come try our new seasonal menu additions like salmon with passion fruit sauce, mint clam, and so much more at no additional charge. And bring your loved ones to celebrate your special life milestones. Rodizio springtime features happening nightly through April. Celebrate spring and celebrate you at Rodizio Grill, the Brazilian Steakhouse.
Bigger fields, bigger events, bigger experiences. Arizona Athletic Grounds. Arizona Athletic Grounds is a 275-acre sports and entertainment destination for athletes, fans, and families. Located in Mesa, AAG is one of the largest multi-sport complexes in the country, with over 475,000 square feet indoors and more than 150 fields and courts. From tournaments to training to cheer, dance, concerts, and corporate events, the Grounds does it all. Learn more at azgrounds.com.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. The insurance company's job is to pay you as little as possible. Our job is to get you every dollar you deserve. Call Rowe and Rowe today and let's make them pay. Call 977-1900.
Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
When it's game time in the Valley, you know what time it is. It's Twin Peaks time. Head to Twin Peaks with 5 Valley locations and massive screens everywhere you look. From basketball, baseball, to hockey, fights, and more, there's no better place to catch every play and all the action. Bud Light is a proud partner of sports fans everywhere. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Join the team at All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing company and leader in roadside service. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service pros ready to grow with us. You'll enjoy state-of-the-art equipment, consistent schedules, full health benefits, a strong 401k match, employer life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Take your career to the next level. Apply today at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is always moving forward.
Game on Peoria. When it's time to eat big, drink cold, and watch every play, make it Big's American Bar and Grill in the P83 district. Big's is serving up huge portions of your favorites. Burgers, wings, nachos, plus a full bar and TVs everywhere you look. And don't miss happy hour Monday through Thursday, 3 to 6:30 p.m. with $2 off well drinks and $2 off domestic drafts, plus daily specials all week long. Bring your friends, grab a seat on the patio, and settle in for the game. Big's American Bar and Grill, where Peoria comes to play, eat, and watch.
Now back to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620.
George Holani's the running back. Fake to him. Darnold to the end zone. Bonner's got a touchdown.
All right, time to talk NFL draft, specifically the NFC West. And whenever we're talking NFC West, we catch up with FoxSports.com beat writer Eric Williams. How we doing, Eric? What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks as always. Appreciate it. Let's start right here in the Valley. The Cardinals hold the 3rd pick right now. Do they trade back, stay put, take a defender, Jeremiah Love maybe? There's like 5 different directions where everyone's kind of going here in the Valley. When you talk to people around the league, what do you believe Arizona will do at number 3?
I think they're going to move back. I think that's kind of the sense I'm getting from talking to people around the league, that they want to move back to acquire more picks, and they still could get a premium player based on the way the draft is right now, with the non-premium players actually being rated higher amongst the more premium players like, defensive line or offensive tackle. If they have to pick, I think Jeremiah Love is in play. I don't know if that necessarily would be the pick at 3 for them, but I think it's somebody that they would consider if they're going to stay at 3. Then I think other than that, you're probably looking at defensive end or offensive tackle. So maybe somebody like Bailey at 3, or an offensive tackle that can kind of come in and help continue to solidify their offensive line.
And on top of that, Eric, when you also talked to a lot of folks out there, is this Cardinal team closer to success or farther to success this coming year or the next couple of years?
I think the word is definitely farther from success when you consider their roster and where they're at right now, and the division that they play in, with the Super Bowl champs being there, and then obviously the Rams and Niners with who's coaching those 2 teams. I think you're looking at a 2 to 3 year rebuilding process to get them to the place where they can compete with those teams. So considering that in mind, obviously they got to figure out the quarterback position. I think Ty Simpson is a player that people around the league see them potentially, drafting, whether it's in the first round or in, day 2 of the draft, second or third round, depending on how he's evaluated. Obviously, there's mixed reviews, in terms of talking to people around the league and how they see him. But, most folks I talk to believe that the Cardinals are going to take Simpson at some point in the draft.
Is it pretty much, as they talk, more of an impactfulness or more of needs to get this team back on track?
I think it's both. I mean, I think they have needs up and down the roster,
Sure.
And then they have a need for impactful players, guys that are difference makers. Obviously Buda Baker is a difference maker defensively, but he's not getting any younger. Offensively, they have guys that can make plays: Trey McBride, Harrison. The names, but they don't have a guy at the most important position at quarterback. Brissett, played well. He's on the roster still. And so, they have to figure out that quarterback position, whether it's going to be this year or you wait till 2027 when there's higher rated prospects that are going to be available in that draft, Arch Manning being one of those.
All right. The late, great Natalie Cole once did a song, "I've Got Love on My Mind." So if that's the case, why would they not take the best player considered by scouts everywhere? Why would they not take the best player in the draft if he's there at 3?
Yeah, when you talk to scouts, front office executives, and ask them who the top rated players are, it's Love, it's Mendoza, and it's Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State. Those are the 3 names that generally come up when you ask who the best players are in the draft. So the issue is positional value, of course. You can get a running back later that's productive. You already have a couple of decent running backs on your roster, and Connor, and sign Algiers in free agency. So it doesn't make sense to sign another guy when you maybe don't really either need a guy like that or you're not ready to have kind of the icing on the cake in terms of Love, in terms of being ready to compete for the playoffs. That said, and I think I've been on here and talked about that, you passed on Bijan Robinson a couple of years ago, and he's a pretty good player.
Yep.
So are you going to, again, pass on a generational type talent in Love, which a lot of people think that's the case with him, who's not only a good runner, but a person that could, do some things in terms of the passing game as well. You can line him out wide, so he's got that diverse skill set. And you're hopeful that you're not going to be up here very often picking at 3. So you want to get a good player in terms of raising your percentage of a hit rate, a guy that's going to come in and you want to offer a second contract to. So they're obviously weighing all those things, those factors in terms of making this decision. And we'll see what they do. But I mean, selfishly, I would like to see Love play in Arizona. It gives me a reason to go over there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing is this is an entertainment business, and people are paying money to see, people that they want to come see on the field on a regular basis. And I think Love is a person that would sell tickets.
All right, Eric, the Rams, 2 first-round picks. What are you hearing about their mindset heading into Thursday? Do they go big or they stay put?
Well, 1 first-round pick, they traded one for McDuffie.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Okay.
They're sitting at 13. That's okay.
Yep.
Sitting at 13 right now. We had a chance to talk to McVay and Snead at the owners' meetings. Sounds like they were pretty close to pulling the trigger on an A.J. Brown trade and dangling Devontae out there. So I think that tells you that they're looking for a playmaker on offense because they believe that they're close to competing for a Super Bowl. So if it's either Lemon out of USC, Cooper potentially out of Indiana, because I think he fits kind of their offense and what they want to do on offense. I think they want a playmaker. I think Sean McVay wants a guy that can come in and help them score touchdowns. I think they can figure out the offensive line part in terms of coaching guys up, and they're pretty solid there right now. And then defensively, they have a bunch of young playmakers on defense, and they already, did a lot of work in free agency, trading for McDuffie and signing Jalen Watkins in terms of their secondary. So I think they're either looking at that a receiver would make sense, or the tight end out of Oregon would make some sense as well.
I was just going to say they've been chirping about Devontae Adams getting a little long in the tooth, and Jordan Tyson, the young man out of ASU, he'd be perfect for that Sean McVay offense.
Yeah, Jordan Tyson would be a good fit. I think the issue obviously is durability. You know, is he going to come in and be healthy enough to warrant, picking a guy that early in the first round? But certainly the skill set is there. I know a lot of people have compared him to JSN in terms of his route running ability and his explosion and just kind of a natural football player. When you watch his film and his tape, there's no doubt that the talent is there. But when you're picking in the first round, you got to check all those boxes. And so I think, the injury piece is something people are going to consider.
When you, after this draft, and you see what the teams in the NFC West have selected, and we've already had a conversation that the Cardinals are not going to be in the mix this coming season for the NFC West. When do you start to summarize how Seattle did, how the 49ers did, how the Rams did?
Are you talking in terms of just kind of off-season build and,
Yes.
and where they're at moving
Yes.
forward this year?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think this is it. I think you see what kind of moves they make in the draft, and then a lot of teams, if they don't get the type of players that they want, there's still players out there available in free agency that they can now go out and sign to kind of start filling in, the different voids that they have that they didn't address either early in free agency or in the draft. Odell Beckham is doing a visit with the Giants reportedly. So kind of guys like that are still out there that people believe can still help them are guys that, will be signed once the draft is over. So, yeah, I think, for me, covering the league as a whole, it's just kind of, taking a look at teams and assessing where they're at after the draft in a couple days.
I want to throw this one real quick, Eric. We'll leave you with this. And NBC Sports Bay Area floated a fascinating idea out there as the 49ers would trade their number, I think, 27 to Arizona so the Cards could jump back into the first round and try to get Ty Simpson. And then San Francisco would get a 34, a 104, and a whatever they have, 3 other picks.
Yeah.
Could you see that happening?
Everybody wants to trade back.
Yeah.
Especially in the top 10, a lot of those teams want to trade back because, as I just talked about, the premium players, the blue chip guys just aren't there. John Snyder just said that he wants to trade back, which the Seahawks always want to trade back, and he's at 32. So, yeah, the Cardinals will have every opportunity to trade up at the end of the first round if they want, if it's important to them to get that 5th year, which you get when you have a first-round pick, especially for a quarterback. And so whether it's 27, whether, it's 32, the opportunity will be there. Certainly would make sense, although it's a little more difficult, I would imagine, when you're trading within division like that, making sure the value is correct. But, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that ends up happening, whether it's, the 49ers sitting at 27 or the Seahawks sitting at 32.
Eric, as always, man, thanks for making time for us. Appreciate you.
Sure. All right, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Eric Williams, NFC West beat reporter, writer for FoxSports.com. You can follow him on X at EWNFL22. All right, we'll continue talking some draft week in the NFL as there's been some moves already. The Bengals, we're going to tap into that a little bit, as well as what's going on with Jacoby Brissett. What does this mean if they would get Ty Simpson, that being the Arizona Cardinals? So we'll tap into that. We got Tony Mandarich and Frank Sanders to come as well. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B from the ESPN 620 studios in Phoenix.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views. Phoenix, if you need a plumber, call the team that does it the right way. Victory Plumbing Arizona. It's particular plumbing for particular people. with upfront pricing before the work starts, so there's no surprises when the job's done. And here's a deal just for listeners. Tell them you heard Victory Plumbing on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, and they'll waive the service charge. For leaks, clogs, water heaters, or anything plumbing, book today at victoryplummingarizona.com. ROC number 268603.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Being in an auto accident is traumatic. You need to call the best law firm that has the experience to get you the best results. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
977-1900.
When it comes to sushi, reputation matters, and Sushi Brokers Arcadia has built theirs on being the best sushi in Arizona. From traditional rolls to bold fusion creations, like our crowd favorite, Seafood Dynamite, and the must-try sushi pizza. We've got something for everyone. Our famous happy hour is every day from 3 to 6:30 with fresh favorites like the California roll, spicy tuna roll, and the surf and turf roll topped with seared steak. Sushi Brokers Arcadia, 44th Street in Indian School.
You push hard. You train hard. Shouldn't your soda work just as hard? Meet Who Knew, the superfood nutrition soda packed with whole vitamins, electrolytes, and antioxidants. Only 5 grams of natural sugar. Over 2,000 5-star reviews. Voted the #1 soda for athletes. Whole food nutrition. Great taste. That's Who Knew. Go to HUNUsoda.com and use code ESPN for 10% off your first order. Who Knew Soda. Soda that's actually good for you. HUNUsoda.com. Code ESPN. Nobody does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Nobody. Whatever you're craving, we got it. Tequila cocktails, premium bourbon pours, and top shelf spirits served over ice balls that hit just right. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails. Yep, all here. And with 5 Valley locations. And don't forget the teeth-chattering 29-degree drafts we're famous for. Pair it all with scratch kitchen bites that actually satisfy. From shareables to hearty favorites. When it comes to happy hour, Twin Peaks doesn't play. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on their new home, ESPN 620.
All right, NFL Draft Thursday, 5 o'clock from Pittsburgh on the NFL Network, ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes. Round 2 and 3 will be Friday beginning at 4, and then rounds 4 to 7 wrap up on Saturday at 9 a.m. So we are here. But when you look at the story for us here in Arizona, there's 3 moving pieces all basically happening at once. You got the Jacoby Brissett holdout. Brissett is not attending the phase 1 of the offseason program, asking for an extension, wants to be paid as a starter, set to make about $9 million this season. Only $1.5 million of that is guaranteed. So it appears that Arizona will address this request, according to reports. But here's the thing. Monty Ossenfort and Mike LaFleur have refused to name a starter, and Arizona almost certainly won't have any financial reason to keep Brissett if a rookie would shine in preseason. So the buzz with Ty Simpson is out there. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler says that the Cards are the team that comes up most often when he is asking around the league about him. And he says that and this is a quote, it's hard to find a natural home for him otherwise. Arizona's got to make that move. Not sure if that's the case. And then even the NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah, same thing. Simply put it this way, Ty Simpson to AZ feels inevitable. So the plan is taking shape, possibly. Reports are suggesting that they do also, instead of, if they don't land Simpson, a top defender, right, at 3rd pick. But then the buzz that's been going around a long time, Manuch thinks he's the first one to talk about it, is that Jeremiah Love was going to go at 3. Obviously, every single person we've had on our show
3 months ago
has been talking about it.
3 months ago.
Everybody knew he was going to go in the top 5. Come on.
Not the Cardinals, though.
Oh, come on,
the
Manuch.
Cardinals, Rock. I've been beating that drum for a long time.
So the counter argument, not everyone thinks this is smart. One school of thought says the Cards should conserve draft capital take their lumps with Brissett this year and find a true successor in a loaded, well, at least on paper, 2027 quarterback class. What do you think?
I wouldn't have any heartburn with
I
that at
wouldn't
all.
either. No.
So instead of 3 wins this year, they'll have 2.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is there's got so many needs, so many holes.
They do.
That I mean, if you're taking a quarterback at the 3 pick, or let's say you're taking the first round, okay. So if you're like, hey, when a coach says, well, there's no commitment, it'll be good competition between Gardner Minshew and Jacoby Brissett. It's kind of code that, you know what? If I'm not going to name a starter, we could maybe look at Ty Simpson somewhere in the first round. I get it. I understand it. Now, if to your point, Rock, if they look at the guys coming out next year and compare them to Ty Simpson, played in the SEC, played for Alabama, only played 1 full year.
That's it.
If they feel that he's a better comp or he's better suited for this offense than the guys coming out next year, they would take him maybe in the first round. I'm not going to say the number 3 pick, but maybe at the bottom of the first round. Okay, if you do, you better be able to have some pieces around him. You better be able to have the kind of things you can do to develop a quarterback. We had Rudy Carpenter on earlier, and that's the main doc. A lot of these guys draft these quarterbacks in the first round or second round, and they don't put enough pieces around them. They get impatient as far as them developing. I think those are some of the things that if you do that, you better be committed up front if you're going to go get a Ty Simpson.
Here's my butthurt on Ty Simpson. What happened in the playoffs when Alabama matched up against Indiana? Indiana destroyed Alabama, and Ty Simpson was dreadful in that game.
He struggled.
He didn't even throw for 100 yards. He ran for like 17 yards. It was awful. To me, that right there, and I know people, it's just one game. No, it was a playoff game on a neutral field against a team in Indiana that Alabama fans, we're just going to go in and kick their ass. Instead, you got your ass handed to you.
It's like a lot of women feel they can fix a guy, don't they think?
Always.
Oh, I love him, but I'll fix him. I'm going to date him. I'm going to fix him. A lot of head coaches with their offensive coordinators see a talent.
Okay.
And they realize an off game here, an off game there, but he has the intangibles of what we like to see. Mm-hmm. So when you look at Mike LaFleur, where he's coming from Matthew Stafford. Now, he's not a Matthew Stafford type quarterback. He doesn't have that gun. He can move. He's more mobile. He's more he's got more escapability.
Okay.
But there's some of these coaches or offensive coordinators go, look, I saw that Indiana game. I can work with him. I can fix him. I can make sure that kid's ready to go. Well, sometimes the comp's already there.
There it is.
No, he's solid.
Yeah.
Now, like I've told you guys, beauty's in the eye of the beholder with these drafts. They look at a guy and go, you know what? We'll make him a top rusher. We'll make him a top this or top that. Next thing you know, they don't. That staff's gone, and you're stuck with a kid that was a high pick that just is not getting it done. Now, if he goes somewhere else and he fits the system, i.e. Sam Darnold, then there's your comp for that. As far as that's concerned.
But look how long it took for Sam Darnold to become as effective as he is now.
And nobody gave up on him. He gets to San Francisco, and all of a sudden he can sit back.
Yes.
And he can back up Brock Purdy. He can understand from Kyle Shanahan. Brian Griese's the quarterback coach. He learned a ton from Brock and Brian as far as preparation, getting ready for a game, which carried him to Minnesota. He has a hell of a year in Minnesota, but he struggled in the playoffs. And they gave up on him. So he gets to Seattle. Guess what? They love everything about it, but they have pieces around him.
Yes, they
don't give up on him, even after those 4 interceptions against the Rams 3 weeks before the regular season ended, and they stuck with them. So a lot of it's a system, a lot of it's a patience, but you got to have people around you.
I'm going to just remind everybody what my esteemed colleagues say, and that is he played one season.
Yeah, that's
one season.
And
that's it.
I will say, I wish I could have one more year in college. I really do.
Yeah.
Before I got to Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I played the entire senior year, most of my junior year. I wish that actually reps matter.
Yeah.
In the case of Bo Nix, 60-some games.
Really did.
In
Brock
college,
Purdy.
45 games. Tyler Shuck, some 50 games.
Yeah.
That helps you coming out.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how much that helps you.
Were you guys surprised with the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yes.
I mean, that is one of the most unlikely trades that we've seen in a long time. Nobody saw this coming from a franchise known for basically being tight with their money.
Oh,
that would be like the Cardinals making a move like that.
Sure.
Right?
I
mean, the Cardinals, the Bengals, I mean, they're all the same level. To give up the number 10 overall pick to the Giants in exchange for Derek Lawrence was just huge, and then give him a nice extension.
I think I think tight was too kind. I was just
Dexter,
saying.
what did I say?
You said tight. They're tight. The Bengals are tight.
I said Derek. Okay, I meant Dexter.
But they're cheap.
The
They're
Giants-
just cheap asses.
Now the Giants have the 5th and the 10th.
They do.
Well,
Yeah.
they can do a lot.
Yeah.
With those 2 picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dexter
Lawrence,
yes, BT.
signed a 1-year, $28 million extension. Wow, how about that?
Well, look at it this way, Manuch. There's nobody in the draft who's going to impact the Cincinnati Bengals defensively like he will.
No.
So he's going to earn that money. Essentially, they're getting a first-round draft choice in him.
They are, and he's a stud. Let's just figure.
No
He'll
question.
play. He'll move on, sign the extension, move on from there. But again, you look at the Giants, you just wonder how they're going to improve that team, and where they're going to go. So there's still a lot of moving pieces for this draft up until Thursday, and there may be up until that Thursday morning as to who's jockeying for what position. The latest, a lot of noise come from Jerry Jones and the Cowboys.
Always.
The ramifications that the Rams are really looking to be all in. We've seen it in the offseason, and hopefully, and they may see that in the draft as well, too. More explosiveness I can see for the Rams.
All right, coming up in hour number 3, of course, we're going to continue the draft talk. He was called the best offensive line prospect ever. He graced the cover of Sports Illustrated. He went 2nd overall in 1989, 1 pick ahead of Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, and Deion Sanders. And he's going to tell us what it was like sitting in that green room and why he didn't even want to go to the team that drafted him. Tony Mandarich will join us next. It's Roc, it's Manuch, it's Jimmy B. We got Labs behind the glass. We're in the ESPN Radio 620 studios in uptown Phoenix. So don't move. Hour number 3 is coming up right here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.
Megan's grandfather bought his first Ranger here. Her dad bought his first F-150 here. And she just drove off the lot in a new Ford Expedition for her family. 3 generations, all choosing Sanderson Ford. Visit Sanderson during their anniversary sale and see why. Right now, purchase a 26 Ford F-150 starting as low as $42,995 and choose the dealership families have been trusting for over 70 years. Choose Sanderson Ford. Offer on stock number 26542. Excludes tax, title, license, and $599 doc fee. Offers expire April 30th, 2026.
I'm John Morgan at Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Over 35 years, I've seen it all. Car crashes, work injuries, defective products, medical mistakes, lives flipped upside down in an instant. But I've also seen something else, the power of fighting back, the power of winning. Over $30 billion recovered and counting. Size matters, reputation matters, results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Arizona lawyer will handle Arizona cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
right in the heart of Arizona Athletic Grounds, one of the largest youth sports complexes in North America. Bristol's is the ultimate hangout for families and sports fans in Mesa. Come experience amazing double-decker cheeseburgers, award-winning wings, smoked barbecue, and fresh, craveable salads. With seating for 500, a full bar, 20 beers on tap, and over 100 TVs, happy hour Thursdays, Friday and Sunday from 4 till 6, plus trivia night every Thursday night. Bristol's, where Mesa comes to eat, watch, and win. Bigger fields, bigger events, bigger experiences. Arizona Athletic Grounds. Arizona Athletic Grounds is a 275-acre sports and entertainment destination for athletes, fans, and families. Located in Mesa, AAG is one of the largest multi-sport complexes in the country, with over 475,000 square feet indoors and more than 150 fields and courts. From tournaments to training to cheer, dance, concerts, and corporate events, the Grounds does it all. Learn more at azgrounds.com.
KTAR AM Phoenix, Arizona's home for the worldwide leader in sports, is ESPN 620. And now, an on-air sports marketing presentation. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD-2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
You are looking live here in New York City as the 1989 NFL Draft is about to begin.
Momentarily, the Green Bay Packers will make it official.
Green Bay Packers select.
Look at man number 5. He is so impressive.
The most dominant offensive lineman that I've ever been around.
He's a monster.
Something I had never seen before. I'm the best college-ass offer. They drafted me, I would play for him.
You were trying, it seemed, your hardest to be unlikable.
It was coming naturally.
One of the most hyped prospects to come out of college football in a generation. And it was the number 2 pick in 1989. Tony Mandarich joins us now here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B here on ESPN Radio Phoenix. Tony, Roc, Manuch, Jimmy B, how you doing, buddy? What's happening?
I'm fantastic. Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing well. So Tony and I shop at the same store.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, so
yes.
I haven't seen him yesterday.
Big man store?
I saw him walking in, and I waved. I was pulling away, and I know he looked at the guy. He was like, who's this guy waving at me? And he just kept going. And then I was like, that's how I connected with him.
It's one of those crazy fans.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Those
great.
damn stalkers out there, right, Tony?
Well,
Damn
good
stalkers.
to hear from you. Appreciate you taking some time for us today as we're talking draft, of course, this week. And, take us back to your draft experience. What do you remember most about that moment? The room, the nerves, the atmosphere? What was it? Because there was so much hype going into that for you.
There was some hype, definitely. In some ways, it was very surreal, and it was a little bit of a letdown, and I'll tell you why. Because over a week to 10 days before the draft, we knew Green Bay was going to draft me because Dallas had told Green Bay we're going to take Troy Aikman, and then they called us. Green Bay called us and said, meaning my agent and I, and said, if they hold to their word and take Troy Aikman, then we're going to take Tony. So it was kind of a little bit of okay, we know what's going to happen. It wasn't like one of those kind of keep your fingers crossed. It's either going to end up in Green Bay or go somewhere else. And so in that respect, it was a little bit of a letdown, but it was the culmination of a goal that I had since I was 11 years old to be drafted in the top 5 picks in the NFL, whatever that year ends up being, and it happened to be 89. So that goal was completed, and I'll tell you what, the Packers wanted me at the Packer facility at Lambeau for the draft, and I did, and the most awesome people and coaching staff and organization that you could ever be surrounded by, in my experience, just absolutely phenomenal people and fans.
But Tony, isn't there a story behind the fact that you didn't want to go to Green Bay?
Yeah, 100%. Actually, to remind you guys, although I'm sure you guys already know this, called Green Bay a village. Right?
Yeah, you
and
did.
Then now listen, when I got drafted, I backpedaled it and I said, look, every village needs a village idiot, right? So, we kind of mended a little bit there, but any kind of PR for an offensive lineman is good PR, and that's kind of look. It was a bunch of arrogance. I mean, we can't lie about that. It was a bunch of arrogance mixed with somebody trying to be a marketing hype machine for offensive linemen, because the only time we get our names mentioned is when we get a holding call.
That's true, too. Yeah.
Well, and Tony, it's interesting because you looked at that, and all that being said, you had the magic man at quarterback, Don Majkowski. He had a hell of a year in that 1989 year. I mean, so it all worked out. But for you to finally realize, hey, I'm going to Green Bay, I'm going to be here. Talk about that rookie year after all that draft hype or draft consternation, if you will, and this team having that great year, your rookie year.
Yeah, and then one of the biggest things of that year was us beating the Bears at Lambeau on that controversial. Did Don Majkowski cross the line of scrimmage when he threw the pass to Sterling Sharp for a touchdown? You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. And the replay, I think that play might have caused the replay officials in the offseason to say, look, we can't take 20 minutes to figure out a play, right? So that game was huge, and I think Chicago for a long time had an asterisk beside it as the game where Majkowski crossed the line of scrimmage. But it was a great season. I think we went 10-6. We didn't make the playoffs because of a tiebreaker, but for me personally, it was a letdown. I think it was a letdown. I know it was a letdown for the fans. So much was expected of me. I expected a lot of myself. And coming in late, that's true, but that's not an excuse. There are players that come in late and end up playing, right? And I was just so consumed and distracted with other things, which a lot of us know about. We can talk about if we want, but I was self-sabotaging myself.
Let me follow up then on what you just remarked about what took place then in Green Bay, because it did get bumpy for you, and then you went to the Indianapolis Colts. You played at guard, and then you became one of the better guards in all of the NFL. Can you tell players who might have that similar bumpiness in their life how you changed it and became such a solid player?
Well, in one sentence, I can tell you only by the grace of God did that happen.
Okay.
And a ton of work. A ton of changing. I had to change just about everything I was doing because I was consumed with the chemicals, the drugs and the alcohol. Not the steroids were a college thing, but it was the alcohol and the painkillers, getting addicted to those things. Nobody's fault but mine. I'll take full accountability on that to this day. And then, after the 4-year contract, Green Bay, I'm out of the league for 3.5 years with no intention of coming back. I get, the miracle happens. I put myself into treatment in Detroit. I get sober. I start working out again. No steroids, no nothing. And 6 months being sober, I'm like 295 and starting to get strong again. I thought, I did so much damage in the NFL the way I did things. Maybe, just maybe, if somebody gives me a chance, which nobody really had to because I had burned all my bridges, I could make as many things as I can possibly right. Some of the things I can't make right because of circumstance, but a lot of the things I could make right. By this time, if I get a chance, I could go in the league, play, keep my mouth shut, earn my money, just do what's asked of you. And if anything, go above and beyond what's asked of you to do your job. And I felt like I did that in Indy. They gave me a chance, and that's all I needed was a chance. And I was lucky to be around great coaches in Indianapolis. And I'll never forget, Jim Irsay, the owner, giving me an opportunity to play there. And I'll just never forget the Irsay family or the Colts or Indianapolis or Indiana. Phenomenal people. And I played there in 3 years and then retired with a shoulder injury in 99.
Tony, it's just interesting. You got to have good people behind you for something like that. And your story's so good coming from the Toronto area, Oakville. your senior year and your brother moved down into the States to get recruited. And the guy that was heavily recruiting you didn't even coach your position, that being Nick Saban at Michigan State, who recruited the defensive backs. But to have him in your corner, even after you left Michigan State, how vitally important was that to have Nick part of that village, if you will?
Well, look, I mean, Nick did okay, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did okay. Yeah.
He's not bad. He's a pretty solid guy. But, you know, Nick recruited me, and I got to know him. And, you know, when the players in any sport, I guess going from high school to college, will understand when you have like one coach or the recruiter, like you develop a relationship with that person. He came to Canada 3 times to meet with my parents. And, I mean, the amount of recruiting and how he did his recruiting, I was like, it's unbelievable. And think about this. This is 1983, 84. And so when Nick took the Alabama job, and I know I'm going to get to your point about how important it is to have solid people surrounded by solid people. But when Nick took that Alabama job, I was like, okay, this is awesome. But, man, I'll tell you what, to fill Bear Bryant's shoes, good luck with that. And it's like he almost made him forget Bear Bryant's name. You know, I mean, not on purpose, but Nick's success at Alabama, I've never seen anything like it besides what happened in Indiana the last couple years, but that's just a short period of time. And he's one of Nick's, you know, former coaches that Nick coached with the guy at Indiana.
Signetti.
Yeah. Don't ever bet against him. Don't ever bet against him. But yeah, listen, the foundation of sobriety and, you know, faith, who you surround yourself with it's an understatement to say it's crucial who you surround yourself with, because we've all heard that phrase, you know, you're the sum of the 5 people that you're around, stuff like that. You know what? It's true. It's cliche, but it's true. But if if you hang around with a bunch of, you know, smack talkers, you're probably a smack talker. You know, if you hang around with people that are into bettering themselves every day, whatever that may be, business, conditioning in the weight room, doesn't matter, or all of those things, trying to be a better person in their community, right? That's probably what you're like, because organically, you're not going to hang around people that aren't like you or something that you want to be like. So, you know, obviously I was extremely fortunate to have been coached by Nick and George Perlis and Buck Nystrom from Michigan State, Howard Mudd in the pros, just unbelievable talent of coaches that are Hall of Fame coaches, in my opinion.
He's Tony Mandarich joining us here, Roc and Manuch with Jim B here, ESPN Radio Phoenix. All right, Tony, if you could sit down with a prospect right now, a kid about to go top 5 on Thursday night in Pittsburgh, what's one thing you wish somebody had told you before your name was called?
Funny you ask, because I just recorded a video that I'm going to post in about 2 hours on my TikTok, and it'll get syndicated to the other social medias.
Okay.
Exactly about what you just asked.
Wow.
And the one thing I would say for sure is on Thursday, when you get drafted in the first round, remember this: that is not your identity. That is actually just an opportunity that you have. But don't tie your identity to a first round pick or a top pick in the NFL, or, you know, someone who's going to be the next great whatever. Listen, it's a job. You're a football player. Remember your identity. Remember what got you there. Remember your foundation. Remember where you're from. And most importantly, remember your faith. Make sure that, you know where your breath comes from.
Tony, this is awesome, man. Thanks for making some time. Glad I ran into you briefly yesterday. So thank you, and we'll get together here soon, and appreciate your time today.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. Tony Mandarich joining us here, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Great story.
He was great.
Awesome player, and just a great guy. And we've been fortunate. I had an office next to him few years ago, and I got to see him on a regular basis, and he does a lot of social media stuff, a lot of photography and things of that sort. So we've had him on our show before.
Yeah, we have. And he's come a long way. We used to get him over Wright Toyota periodically.
Yeah.
I mean, this big, massive individual. What a phenomenal story. What a recovery story. But you forget he was out of football for 3 years.
Yes.
I forgot that.
I did too.
Yeah, Tony just mentioned that.
That's why I wanted to reference what happened when he got back in with the Indianapolis Colts. And he said, I lost a lot of weight. I was 295 instead of 350. And I could really move and do what needed to be done at a guard position. And he played great at that guard.
He was a clean 295.
He was.
No steroids, no drugs,
yes.
none of that stuff, which really speaks volumes of how far he came.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm in process of a move, and I've always I was a collector of Sports Illustrated, and he's on the cover of the one in 1989. It was April 24th, 1989, and it said the incredible bulk, 6'6", 315-pound Tony Mandarich, the best offensive lineman ever, prospect ever. And it's just a big picture of him with his shirt off and just
he was buffed.
And I saw that. Buffed. It was just ironic that I literally was moving on the weekend and I saw when I was going through all these SIs and it actually popped up. And then ironically I see him, a few hours later, in
the parking lot.
So good stuff there. So we appreciate him taking some time. We're going to get him back on. And
we will.
Maybe sit in for an hour or so. That'd be nice. So, all right, we're going to catch up with Frank Sanders, kind of go through the same thing with him in about 15 minutes, but we'll talk some Suns next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B here on ESPN 620.
Game on Peoria. When it's time to eat big, drink cold, and watch every play, make it Big's American Bar and Grill in the P83 district. Big's is serving up huge portions of your favorites. Burgers, wings, nachos, plus a full bar and TVs everywhere you look. And don't miss happy hour Monday through Thursday, 3 to 6:30 p.m. with $2 off well drinks and $2 off domestic drafts, plus daily specials all week long. Bring your friends, grab a seat on the patio, and settle in for the game. Big's American Bar and Grill, where Peoria comes to play, eat, and watch.
This week at Vans Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, it's the Cobra Fitting and Bonus Trade-In event. The new Cobra Optum lineup achieves incredible ball speeds, reduced side spin, and exceptional forgiveness. Take advantage of the 50% bonus trade-in towards your new Cobra purchase. Swing into Vans Golf Shops or book your fitting online at worldwidegolf.com. Trusted by golfers since 1963 and home to the legendary 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee. Get there.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Getting rear-ended once is bad enough. Don't let the insurance company hit you again with a lowball offer. Call an experienced attorney who knows how to fight and win. Call Lerner and Rowe today. 977-1900.
Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
When it comes to your roof, you don't want to mess around. And Arizona homeowners and business owners have known that for over a decade. State 48 Roofing is Arizona's #1 referred roofer. Residential, commercial, they do it all. And they've been doing it right here in the Valley for over 10 years. Protect your home, protect your business. And hey, keep your roof sexy with State 48 Roofing. Visit state48roofing.com or call 480-268-4509. State 48 Roofing, Arizona's most trusted roof.
Let me remind you, Thursdays are where the weekend starts at Twin Peaks Restaurant. Grab an ice-cold Bud Light or a refreshing Michelob Ultra and catch wall-to-wall sports on massive TVs everywhere you look. Big games, cold beer, made from scratch food. Start your weekend early with Bud Light and Michelob Ultra. Thursdays at Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views.
Action! When I grow up, I want to be a director because they get to talk to everybody about everything. They get to make cool movies and dance music videos.
If your child is sick over and over again, it could be PI, a defect of the immune system that affects millions. Early testing can give children a chance to dream.
And when I'm a director, I get to say, lights, camera, action.
For more information, visit the Jeffrey Modell Foundation at info4pi.org.
That's a wrap.
Now back to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620.
All right, OKC went on a 19-4 run in the first quarter, led by 21.5. Phoenix never made them sweat. SGA 5 of 18 from the field, but that didn't matter. He was 15 of 17 at the line. He still finished with 27 points, no turnovers. But 34%, just over 34% from the field for Phoenix, and the 17 turnovers, which OKC was able to turn those into 34 points. And by the way, Phoenix turned OKC's turnovers into 2. They got beat on the paint, fast break, 18-2, bench 40-24. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Booker said it himself, 19 turnovers, 19 offensive rebounds allowed is a recipe for disaster. This wasn't just a loss. They were exposed. And, it seems like Book was the only one that really showed up. I mean, Green, 6 of 16 shooting, and, we'll have to see what happens here as, the questions are going to continue. What can change heading into game 2? Is it the turnovers? Is it finding a second scorer for Booker? I mean, he can't do it himself.
No.
Or is the problem bigger than adjustments?
Well, I think bigger down low is part of that problem.
I agree.
Lack thereof.
I agree.
It's unfortunate that Mark Williams is out. Oso just basically got schooled. He tried to slam 2 home, got both of them blocked, ended up with 0 points. And Roc, as you alluded to, all the turnovers, the 13 steals, the 34 points off the turnovers, on and on and on. And I just, the only thing you can even with that kind of performance, not to even be competitive, is that you played Friday night, you get in Saturday, you play Sunday, that this team looked out of gas, either discombobulated, disjointed. They were just a mess, and they had really no answer for anything defensively. And on top of that, it seems like when this team gets anxious on offense, there's a lot of one-on-one play, reverting back to what we saw last year with Booker and Beal and KD versus moving the ball. And on top of that, to be caught red-handed with lack of defensive adjustments, guys going back door wide open, guys alley-oop, the size. I mean, it was just one of those flush the tape. Hopefully they can make some adjustments without Grayson Allen, without Mark Williams. It's going to be very difficult.
OKC forces you to play like that, especially when you are undermanned, which they were. Let me just reference this real quick for Suns fans. Coming up in the NBA draft in June, the Suns have the number 16th pick. Memphis Grizzlies have it. The Suns have the number 47th pick. They got that from the 76ers. The Suns have the number 48th pick. The Dallas Mavericks have that. They have 1 pick in the second round when they mortgaged everything with Kevin Durant. So the point that I'm making is that if you're looking for a quick turnaround as far as getting players, it's not going to be there in the draft.
Yeah, and I think from that, you're looking for, okay, where do they go get the size next year?
Yes.
Because that's clearly the detriment of this Phoenix Suns team is you can only play small ball for so many years. And, Jimmy, I'll defer to you. How many quasi-small ball teams or small labs have won NBA championship?
Golden State.
Okay, Golden State. Shooters galore.
Yes.
So there's a point there.
That's the one. But look how it's changed, Manuch. Look at when they were playing, when Golden State won those, the league in the West particularly wasn't big. Look how the West has changed. Everybody from Portland to Utah to Denver to San Antonio to OKC, they all have big guys.
That was kind of the infold of going out and drafting shooters.
Correct.
Because think about that Golden State team. They built that team, everybody but maybe 1 or 2 through the draft.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Too bad we couldn't get Steph Curry. But look at OKC.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yes, they have.
They built through the draft.
They have.
And you talked about the lack of picks the Suns have. And we joked earlier with Kevin Ray, the play-by-play voice for the Suns, that they've got like 95 picks coming up.
Feels like it, yeah.
But they've done a great job of strategically going after those individuals. And I just hope that Mark Williams can make it back. I don't know if Grayson Allen's going to come back this week. He might come back Saturday for the first home game.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got a hammy and you got a knee, extremely difficult. But the guy they do miss is Mark Williams. But he really, Jimmy, he faded the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season prior to that foot getting injured.
I'm with you on that 100%. And once again, I believe the reason that he started to fade was because the guys he was matched up against are every bit as big as him or possibly even stronger than him.
It's funny you bring that up about small ball there and the Golden State winning. but the Big East never changed. The Eastern Conference never really changed.
No,
that way.
not like the West.
They stayed,
Yes.
very archaic, stoic, which benefited them. But during that era, when you went 3 out of 4, and I think it was Cleveland that decided when LeBron went back,
LeBron beat
they
him.
went more small.
Yes.
But they had LeBron, they had Love, they had their
And
guys.
Kyrie Irving.
And Kyrie Irving.
Yes.
So they somewhat matched that. But it's interesting you bring that. The small ball was fad during that era, but
Yes.
now it's gone to big boys.
It is.
And you're seeing that domination.
Yeah, I know you guys all think the Suns are going to get one. I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for them to get one.
I agree, but I still think they find a way to get one.
I just think
Unless
guys
there's the fixes in.
Well, hey, I just hope that they can keep it more competitive and get beat by 35 points.
I mean, come on, 35 points.
That's embarrassing, guys. I don't care if you played yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, you should still be able to suck it up, be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, we know OKC hasn't played, in 10 days? So they were ready to go.
They were ready.
But I don't want to hear this because the Suns played on what
Friday.
I mean,
Yeah. I'm not buying that. Yeah.
Come on,
I'm not
that's normal.
These guys are in great shape. They're young. They can get up and down the court. They just were prepared for that onslaught.
But we were talking towards the tail end of the season when they really struggled toward the last month of the season, and we kept saying they ran out of gas, and maybe they really have run out of gas.
Well, they were
because they've been so banged up.
Yeah, and the stats do prove, especially in that fourth quarter. We had the closing stat in the fourth quarter. They really, you're 16-5 the first half of the year in the fourth quarter to close out, and you're 6-15 the second half. So there's something either that or teams are adjusting to the Suns, and the lack of adjustments by Jordan Knott has befell them as far as being able to win those games.
I agree with the lack of adjustments for Jordan Knott. Remember, this is a first-year head coach in the league, so he is getting schooled from time to time. But I also want to take you back to where Manuch called up that stat, which is an incredible stat, 6 of 15.
Fourth quarter
Fourth quarter collapse. Yep, that's a great stat. And one of the reasons is because the teams they were playing against were Western Conference teams. And those teams had something to play for. They were playing for positioning. And so they were playing a much better game than what maybe they played in January as compared to March and April.
All right, next game, Wednesday night. All right, coming up, he wore the Cardinal red. He knows this organization. He knows this fan base and exactly what this team needs. Former Cardinals wide receiver Frank Sanders will join us next right here on ESPN Radio. But first, here's Laz with our last ESPN Radio 620 Sports Center update for the afternoon.
It's now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's ESPN 620 Sports Center update. I'm Matt Lazarus. Phoenix Suns were blown out by the defending champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder, 119-84 in Game 1 of the NBA playoffs. It was a rout from start to finish, but the Suns will look to bounce back in Game 2 on Wednesday night from the Paycom Center in OKC. And in baseball, the Arizona Diamondbacks fell to the Toronto Blue Jays 10-4 Sunday afternoon. Despite the loss, though, the D-backs still took 2 out of 3 in the series, and they are now off today before opening a 3-game set against the Chicago White Sox tomorrow at Chase Field. This ESPN 620 Sports Center update is sponsored by Biggs in Peoria. When it's game time, it's Biggs time. Biggs American Bar and Grill in Peoria is one of the best spots in the valley for great food, cold drinks, and wall-to-wall sports. Check them out all weekend long. Biggs in Peoria at the P83.
Looking for the perfect place to eat, drink, and watch the game this spring? Twin Peaks is serving up bold, scratch-made favorites, handcrafted cocktails, and the coldest Bud Lights and Michelob Ultras in town, poured at 29 degrees. Big screens everywhere, all 5 locations, and an atmosphere like no other. Bring the crew and make it a night. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views. TwinPeaksRestaurant.com.
Hey, it's Kevin Rowe from Lure and Rowe, trusted across Arizona for helping injured people after serious car wrecks.
And I'm Sean Forrester, managing attorney at Lerner & Rowe Law Group. We may sound alike, but Lerner & Rowe Law Group is a completely separate firm focused solely on criminal defense. We handle serious felonies, DUIs, and misdemeanors with decades of courtroom experience. If you're facing criminal charges, don't wait. Call Lerner & Rowe Law Group now at 602-977-1900.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
This week at Vans Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, it's the Cobra Fitting and Bonus Trade-In event. The new Cobra Optum lineup achieves incredible ball speeds, reduced side spin, and exceptional forgiveness. Take advantage of the 50% bonus trade-in towards your new Cobra purchase. Swing into Vans Golf Shops or book your fitting online at worldwidegolf.com. Trusted by golfers since 1963 and home to the legendary 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee. Get there.
Now open in North Scottsdale. It's the Orangedale Lounge. ODs, right off Thompson Peak and Bell, next to Bash's. Your new favorite dive bar has arrived. Cold drafts, chill vibes, always affordable prices, and the OD Mug Club, a one-of-a-kind membership you won't find anywhere else. No frills, just great people, ice-cold drinks, and a bar that feels like it's always been there. Follow at OD Scottsdale and get the scoop at orangedalelounge.com. Orangedale Lounge. Dive in and drink up.
Harry Douglas here. Let me ask you something. What if you can enjoy the taste of a cocktail, the warmth of a spirit, and still stay fully in control? That's RK Zero Proof, a pioneer in the alcohol-free spirits category. RK delivers bold flavor and a real warming sensation with zero alcohol, zero sugar, zero carbs, and zero calories. Perfect for nights out, social gatherings, or anytime you want the experience of a drink without sacrificing tomorrow. Check it out at rkbeverages.com. That's ARKAY beverages.com. RK. All the flavor, none of the alcohol.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
He played 8 seasons with the Arizona Cardinals. The Sandman.
It is caught. Touchdown Auburn. Sanders caught it. Touchdown Auburn. Frank Sanders from Nix. Auburn's ahead.
Frank Sanders joins Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. right here on ESPN 620.
Frank, what are you doing right now?
Man, I just heard that wonderful intro, man. I just started thinking about that day I made that catch in Auburn. And it's just, you guys always make me smile, man, when I hear that, man. It's pretty, thank you for that intro, Rob.
We've been doing it for like 15 years. It's the first time you actually heard it?
No, I heard it every time. I say, you actually, what am I doing now? I'm smiling, man, at that call. It's just.
Well, I'm a little disappointed right now. I would expect you should be calling me from the golf course getting warmed up for our Friday golf tournament because I have not played in 5 months. So I can't carry you. So I need to make sure you are practicing and you've been practicing. You playing all these golf tournaments. And, you know, I heard Bankston's got a team, you know, and I heard he's turning his game around. And I had to make a deal so you weren't going to play with Bankston's team. And I had to let Toyota know, like, no. Frank Sanders is on my team because I know he's practicing and he's going to bring his A game on Friday.
Well, a lot of
for
pressure,
the Lerner Row. And by the way, Frank, we're taking the show on the road too, so you may have to have to pop in and say hi to Jimmy B and Manuch. They'll be broadcasting from McCormick Ranch.
Oh, this sounds good, man. All I just heard was, and with the first pick in the overall Lerner & Rowe draft, and Roc Manuch picks Frank Sanders.
That's right, Auburn, wide receiver.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
But on a serious note, you've been practicing, right?
Oh, I just came back from Washington, out of Seattle area, playing Chambers Bay. We had to walk, that golf course, 7.3 miles at Chambers Bay. Shot a sweet little 81 first time on the course, man. Played 2 other great courses out there, so I'm ready to play.
So ironically,
this afternoon.
One of the guys in our foursome on Friday, the reason why he's in our foursome is because he took me to Chambers Bay last year to play. So, did you par that par 3 with the one tree on the entire course?
I know I did. I actually did. Nice little picture wedge, downhill, downwind. Really nice. Beautiful. And literally, he's not lying, y'all. It's the one tree on the entire golf course.
It's
One tree.
unbelievable. All right, enough of us, Frank. But you be ready, all right? So I want you banging balls all week, all right?
I got you, brother.
Okay.
I got
All right, good. All right. So of course, draft on Thursday. Take us back, man. We just had Tony Mandarich. Remember Tony Mandarich from Michigan State? He just joined us, kind of went through his experience. And can you take us back to when the Cardinals selected you and what was going on in your mind and the emotions?
Yeah, draft days is crazy, man. I had a guy from Dallas that was in my house. One of their scouts, directors, was in my house at that day. I really thought Dallas was going to pick me, but it was, still up in the air. He just said, if anybody calls Frank, make sure you let me know so I can call the war room just to kind of give them a heads up so we can go from there. Dallas had the 45th pick, and the Cardinals had the 46th pick in the 1995 draft. And so I wasn't really sure. I mean, I saw Dave Atkins at the Senior Bowl. Buddy Ryan was there with his staff and scouting team. But Dave Atkins come to me after practice and says, "Hey Frank, the guy back there with the hat on likes you a lot." I said, "What guy?" Looking in the back, and it was Buddy up against the pole, and he said, "Buddy Ryan likes you, so keep doing what you're doing." He said, "More than likely, we're probably going to draft you." And I was like, "Okay, well that sounds good." Back then, we didn't have all this ESPN and you guys being able to give all the information out and watch it in real time. It was on the ticker tape bottom once you got to the second round. Mel Kiper had said Frank Sanders would probably be in the late first round pick or early second round pick. Well, that was kind of whoever drafted me. I just said, God, I don't care where you send me someplace warm and a team that needs me.
Someplace warm.
How do you beat that? Well, here, Jimmy B, I visited Green Bay in early April.
Oh boy!
It still had snow on the ground.
Oh yeah,
it was freezing.
Yeah, man, I've been there.
I was like, Lord, please don't send me here. It was freezing. I'm a Florida boy from the Sunshine State, so I ain't want no cold. So, but the draft day was happening, man, and I got a phone call from Paul Jensen at the time, and I answered the phone, and Dave Atkins hopped on, and he said, "Hey Frank, we're getting ready to draft you, man. What do you think?" I said, "Well, I'm looking forward to it. Who is this?" He said, "Oh, Arizona Cardinals." I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "Great." He said, "Remember, I told you we were going to draft you, man. We like you." And I said, "Okay, coach." And I put the phone down. I said, "Hey, look at the room that Cardinals are getting ready to draft me." And he picked up his phone, that big old block back there, and he picked it up and called NASA. Then they called Dallas. And so, at that time, the Cardinals had picked me up, and I was got about to be an Arizona Cardinals. So it was exciting. I told my family, and they was like, "Who?" I said, "Arizona Cardinals," because no one, we didn't really know much. Didn't know much about Arizona having a football team. We knew about the St. Louis Cardinals, and so. But the day after that, man, it just the day went like a blur. It went fast. Somebody else called me. We're going to fly you in to do interviews and then go from there. But to have your name selected is and to be picked up by a team, honestly, guys, is a really, really special and exciting moment for a player. Just to know they get a chance to go to the next level, because it's not always promised or guaranteed.
So it's similar to me picking you in the Lerner and Rowe Gives Back Golf Classic on Friday, right? Same level.
Absolutely. I had to call you, Roc, and ask you, were you going to draft me? Because Mike Bankson has a team ready for me to go. And you said, well, hold on, give me a minute. Let me call somebody.
Yep, that's what I did. That's a true story. I'm like,
great.
Banks ain't beat me on this one.
Frank, was there did anybody tip you off one way or the other, or could you tell the Cardinals? You talked about the Cowboys. Was there ever you kind of hinted that they might lean toward you, whether it's workouts or calling you, or somebody said this and this? Did you have any kind of an inkling that they might pick you?
Well, it was only at the, it's funny, only at the Senior Bowl.
Right.
But it was like, there was 32 teams, or at the time, 30 teams there, for the Senior Bowl. So it wasn't like, and you're just competing versus, I'm an SEC boy, but I'm competing against guys from all other conferences. So that's exciting in itself. But the reality is that, a bunch of people walk up to you and say, yes, no, yes, no. I was trying to make an impression that I'd be drafted in a higher area than I was when I was told. They say, hey, you'll probably be, late first round or early second. At that year I came out, it was J.J. Stokes, Michael Westbrook, and Joey Galloway. Those 3 receivers are taken in the first-round pick, and then it just so happened the Cardinals traded their first-round pick for Rob Moore, and that, opened up the window where they went back-to-back receivers in a draft. Rob Moore from the Jets, and then they picked me up. So that was the way they went during that timeline.
What are they going to do? Are they going to unload that pick and trade back? Are they going to take Jeremiah Love, which the 3 of us hope that they do? Or are they going to just hang on to it and take some linemen?
That's a great question, Jimmy B. And I did Roc, I did a little research on this here. I'm going to do something that I think will bring us all to a good place, man. And I will say this respectfully. I've watched Monty and Mike together over the last 3 years in the hiring of Monty Osmore, and then what he was able to do with J.G. Jonathan Gannon when he came in as the head coach. They had the 3rd overall pick then and now. But I look at what he's done over the last 3 years in his resume, and I really, really do. In 2023, we took Paris Johnson. 2024, we took Marvin Harrison. And in 2025, we took Walter Nolan. But not just those being the first-round overall pick. And all those guys are extremely talented. 2 guys from OU and 1 guy from the from the SEC and Walter Nolan. I like that lineup of the last picks that Monty and Mike have put together with the scouting team and the guys they brought in, not only just the draft picks they had, but the offseason and the players that they brought in to come in rotation. So I really look at the last 3 years of the draft of just Monty, because remember we had Steve Kynes, and everybody had question marks of what was going on in the draft in its last 3 or 4 years with the Cardinals. So I like what Monty's done. I would say I would be nervous, and I'm excited at the same time. Nervous from the standpoint that you really don't know what's going to happen, but excited because I've watched these guys over the last 3 years. Monty put together a team. They haven't been healthy, and Kyler didn't really didn't take advantage of the opportunity that he had to stay healthy. But what I've seen out of everybody else, he's done a wonderful job, not just in the draft, but also in the offseason with the veterans he brought in, guys that was ready, guys that's ready to plug and play. And so I'm actually excited about, what's going to happen in the draft coming up on Thursday. I really am.
But, it's pure entertainment, right, Frank? Pure entertainment. So why not take Jeremiah Love for the tickets and the entertainment and the home run hitter that he could be if he's available?
No, I walk with you on that, too. I do like that. I'm in between a quarterback and a running back primarily because, Mike LaFleur is an offensive-minded head coach. He's coming from a situation where, the head coach always got to kind of prove themselves. And when you're offensive head coach, the number one tie to you is your quarterback. And so if you are able to go in the draft and get a good quarterback to bring them in and coach them up and put them in a good position, like we've seen out of the last couple of years with these young quarterbacks coming in the league and actually playing at a high level, that would be good for him. But I do agree with you. I like Love. I mean, he is an exciting running back. We haven't gotten a full season out of James Conner, and so that's one thing you got to look at. But more importantly, what he brings to the table is excitement. He's fast. He's quick. He can run. He can run and catch and do everything, at an explosive level. So he would be a great pick as well.
So for the next 4 days, I want you not to drink. I just want you to get up early, get to the range, take a little break, have a good lunch, and then go back. I want you to putt. Short game is everything in a scramble, right? So you just do what you got to do to make sure you're playing at the level I need you to play at. All right.
Roc, I like the encouragement, and I like you coaching me up the right way, Coach. I appreciate that. I'm really going to need you. I haven't played in 5 months to go do something.
Yep.
I need you to work on your bartending skills for your boy. Make sure your boy have a nice PNP, Patron and Pineapple ready to go.
Done.
So that I can make sure my short game is intact. So we're on the same page.
And I have a fresh dozen Pro V1 81 golf balls waiting for you.
My man, I can lose all of them.
I'm only going to give you. I'm just going to give you one golf ball, and you're going to use that same golf ball. It's a scramble, so you're going to have one golf ball. All right. So that's how it's going to work. And then when the round is over, then I'll give you all the rest.
My coach is tough, man. I'll take it.
All right,
I'll
good
take
stuff.
it.
Hey, I'll see you on Friday, buddy. Thanks.
All right, brother. See you.
That's Frank Sanders joining us, of course. Yeah, I was drafted in the Cardinals in 19 95. You can follow him on X at Frank Sanders 81. He's presented today by All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing company. We're hiring drivers. Well, they are dispatchers, customer service pros, great pay, benefits, and a monthly fuel allowance. How about that? Apply today at allcitytowing.com. That's All City Towing, where your future is always moving forward. All right, we'll come back. We'll bring back our Lerner and Rowe rewind, or one call, I should say, which will be Tony Mandarich. So we'll have that for you next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Celebrate the new season and enjoy springtime features at Rodizio Grill. Come try our new seasonal menu additions like salmon with passion fruit sauce, mint lamb, and so much more at no additional charge. And bring your loved ones to celebrate your special life milestones. Rodizio springtime features happening nightly through April. Celebrate spring and celebrate you at Rodizio Grill, the Brazilian Steakhouse.
Arizona's headquarters for Toyotas is Wright Toyota. Hey, Rock, for my friends at Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. You will always find the right deal at Wright Toyota. Wright Toyota has been driving Arizona's home for years with their amazing service, pricing, and great selections. I encourage you to discover the difference at Wright Toyota. Make the right choice, Wright Toyota, just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, and always online at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Check out WrightToyota.com.
Join the team at All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing company and leader in roadside service. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service pros ready to grow with us. You'll enjoy state-of-the-art equipment, consistent schedules, full health benefits, a strong 401k match, employer life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Take your career to the next level. Apply today at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is always moving forward.
When hot is not an option, Stay Cool delivers. From patios to warehouses, shops to summer events, Stay Cool's Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube mobile air coolers deliver more air for less money. They're rust-free and backed by more than 40 years of experience keeping you cool. Available now online at Home Depot, Lowe's, and Tractor Supply. Shipped to the store or right to your door. Visit staycool-products.com. Slim Cool Elite and Cool Cube. Get yours today with free shipping and beat the heat.
Whether it's getting back on the court or back to everyday life, recovery takes the right team. At the Barrow Neuro Rehabilitation Center, that means a combination of world-class neurological specialists who share one mission, helping each patient reach their unique recovery goals. Nationally ranked in rehabilitation, Barrow Neurological Institute is dedicated to maximizing independence and quality of life for people with conditions of the brain and spine. It matters where you get your neurorehabilitation care. Learn more at barrowneuro.org.
Hi, I'm Johnny Erickson Tata, and our Johnny and Friends Arizona team invites you to our first pickleball tournament called Rally for Hope. It's more than just a day on the court. It's a chance to provide practical help and gospel hope to weary families that live with a disability. So join us at Center Court in Glendale, May the 2nd from 11 to 5 p.m. Come play or cheer on the teams. Visit johnnyandfriends.org/Arizona for details.
It's the Lerner and Rowe one call, that's all call of the day. If you're looking for a full-service law firm, just make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, to remind you guys, although I'm sure you guys already know this, I called Green Bay a village. Right?
Yeah, you
did. And then, you know, now listen, when I got drafted, I backpedaled it and I said, look, every village needs a village idiot, right? So, we kind of mended a little bit there, but you know, any kind of PR for an offensive lineman is good PR, and that's kind of, look, it was a bunch of arrogance. I mean, we can't lie about that. It was a bunch of arrogance mixed with somebody trying to be a marketing hype machine for offensive linemen, because the only time we get our names mentioned is when we get a holding call.
Tony Mandarich, who joined us in the 2 o'clock? No, it's 3 o'clock, top of the hour. So if you want to listen to that, you can just download the Arizona Sports app, or you go to rocandmanuch.com. We also have it on YouTube as well. So interact, need a check, make one call. That's all, 602-977-1900, and always at learnerinrow.com. All right, what's on tap? No D-backs tonight or Suns, as D-backs will host the White Sox tomorrow at 6:40, as well as on Wednesday and Thursday, and then the Padres will be in town for the weekend. So they got a Monday and they get a Monday off, and then they have a day game on Thursday. So if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on here, but they may be off on Friday. Is that right? Is that am I seeing this wrong on my schedule here, that they do not play on Friday? Because it's a Mexican City series.
That's right.
So it's a travel day, right?
Yeah, that would probably be correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
This weekend with the Mexico City series.
So anyway, but you got some NHL and some NBA playoffs tonight that get underway at about 4 o'clock.
All right, guys, our State 40 Roofing Hit Your Call question of the day for a free roof inspection before leaks hit. All you have to do is give them a call, 480-268-4828, 480-268-4828, or just go online. Just visit state48roofing.com. All right, here's the question. You go to Twitter at Roc and Manuch, or on Instagram at Roc and Manuch. How many games will the Suns win versus OKC? Is it number 1, 0, number 2, 1? Is it 2, or is it 3? Jimmy, I'll ask you, Mr. Basketball Fish Out. Which one did you put on this?
Well, I was upset that you didn't have 4 on there, which means they would have won the series.
That dog's not going to hunt.
No, it's not going to hunt. I went with 1. That's it.
Rock, which way did you lean on this?
0.
0.
Sorry.
I'm Mr. Homer Simpson himself.
You are.
I went 2. I went 2. Laz, which way did you lean on this one?
I'm going with Rock, 0.
So we're
Definitely
going.
not
I just
2.
think 35%. I mean, 35%. It's 60. It looks as though 0 is 63%, and then 1 is the rest. So 66.7 and 33.3.
Yeah,
so
I just hope
nobody went
swept.
with 2, because you obviously did. You didn't actually vote yet because there's no 2s.
Yeah.
So, but the 0 and the 1s are there.
You know, it's
Fun. It's amazing that you don't even vote on your own poll question.
Yeah, I know. I get there. I'll get there sooner or later. But if
How hard is it to just open up an X.com?
Yeah, well, I'll get there. I'm working on it right now.
Will you
knows
figure it
how to
out
put
when
it.
you go to Europe or something?
You got to make a new account, Manuch.
Here's the thing. You look at. I just hope they're competitive, that they can still one Saturday night, and then maybe if they get if Mark Williams can get back, or maybe Grayson Allen can get back, they can get both those guys healthy. They can last a game. I mean, yeah, it might be far-fetched that they win 2, but if they could win 2, at least even if OKC we know wins this series, they can have something to build on moving into next year.
Are you talking with your fan hat on right now?
Absolutely,
There
man.
you go.
Dang, Skippy.
At least Rock and I are realistic.
I am fan all the way. No, being realistic, yeah, I would hope they win 1.
Yeah.
You know, they probably won't win any, but I think if the stars align properly, it is the sun.
I know.
You get the moon, you get Venus, you get
boy.
Mars
Here
all
we
lined
go.
up properly. Key is, I would hope that Grayson Allen and Mark Williams are back by at least Saturday.
It's an
By at least
afternoon game.
Yeah, so, but it's interesting watching Grayson Allen. He had 2 heating pads on both knees.
Yeah.
And I think he had one underneath his
On his
hamstring
hamstring,
underneath. And I don't think he got up the entire game. He was probably doing some kind of treatment by just sitting there. And then this whole Mark Williams thing with the foot, I just hope that this is something that lingers into next year. And because he did play for a couple of games, and then he had to sit back
then
down.
he's gone. But that's what we talked about when they made the trade. Before they made the trade, his longest appearance in an NBA season with, that time, Charlotte Hornets, was 44 games. Now, I'm going to tip my cap to him because he played a lot more than 44 games this year, which was great. However, once again, his foot has raised that ugliness, just like Bill Walton. Bill Walton, foot issue after foot issue, and it cost him what probably would have been one of the best careers, and he would have gone down as an all-time NBA center if it wasn't for injuries.
Let me ask you this. To get more production from that position, do you plug in a Dunn or a Fleming, believe it or not? Because Fleming is a pretty damn good rim protector, and we've watched him play.
Yes.
Dunn, he's going to struggle offensive, but Oso He was a non-factor. No points.
You know,
and both his stuffs blocked
at the iron.
I don't know. I mean, if you're going to go small ball, go for small ball.
I have an affinity that maybe they should play Rashid a little more. Bashir, thank you. A little more, just to see what happens when he's on the court. Look, they're at a total disadvantage on the front line with Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren.
Are they ever?
I mean, it's painfully obvious. So if you're going to go small ball, at least get a guy in there in Fleming who can score. And he did. He was 3 for 3. Look, the points were meaningless. The game was way over at that time. But I'd at least, you got to try something because you cannot match up on the front line against OKC.
Well, and I think we'll see a team with more energy. I would
hope so.
I would definitely hope so. I think that back-to-back game had a little bit to do with it, but not all of it. To lose by 35, a playoff team, that was beyond reproach to see something like that.
There's a story that hit on Front Office Sports today that Ty Simpson, the former Alabama quarterback, turned down $6.5 million an NIL deal from Miami.
Wow.
Instead, of course, he declared for the NFL draft, a decision which is going to probably cost him because he will not make that kind of money in the NFL his first year.
Well, if he's drafted in the first round, he'll make that kind of money his first year. I mean, they got that slot.
If he falls down to the second round,
that's what a risk
or
that
late,
is.
It's a risk.
Or late. I mean, you look at, he's not going to fall to 6, but you look at Riley Leonard. He's quarterback for the Colts. He was a 2025. He was last year's 6th round pick. And he's making about 1.1. He said he earned more at Notre Dame through NIL than he does in the NFL.
Well, that's why Trinidad Chambliss there at Ole Miss was trying to do all he could to stay because they were projecting him like 3rd round.
Yeah.
So if he's going to make, let's say, $6 million at Ole Miss, yes, he's going to make more than he would by declaring for the draft. But yeah, Ty Simpson has one more year. To your point, Rock, he could have left, but everybody was telling me the scouts, his representation, which he went out on a limb and said, you're a late 1st rounder or early 2nd rounder. You could make up that money with it be a 4-year if he's outside the 1st round, 4-year contract. 5-year if you're in the 1st round, 4-year. God, that's a complicated gamble. How do you turn down $6.5 million?
I was just going to say, how do you do that?
And so if you go back, say if he falls to 27, there's some talk about the trades.
Right.
Last year, the Starks kid from Baltimore, he got a $16.56 million total in the draft slot. So it was based on the draft slot. So the total value was that. Average was 4.15 a year.
Okay.
And then the signing bonus was just over $8 million. So, but a 4-year deal.
The signing bonus in his first year, Trump thought he was going to make his senior year.
Yeah.
Man, that's
it's a lot of money being tossed around.
Hey, folks, a little change of pace. We'll be right Toyota tomorrow, not Friday.